The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey.
Why?
Let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
Ah!
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers,
You pig! Stop! Damn it!
Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Sport!
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Feel Good Friday, January 19th, 2024. This sports program starts now.
Football
is happening this weekend, both on Saturday and Sunday. We are sitting on the divisional round eve on this particular Feel Good Friday. 2 games tomorrow, both spread at about 9.5. Supposed to be blowouts, but we shall see. And then 2 games on Sunday that are supposed to be a little bit closer, but a weekend filled with absolute magic. 8 teams enter. 4 teams will continue their climb to the Lombardi. It is a beautiful time to be alive. We can't thank you enough for joining us on this glorious day. We'll be joined by Michael Lombardi here in about 30 minutes or so. He'll give us his picks and thoughts and also the hiring processes of what's taking place around the NFL. A lot of coordinators getting looks. A lot of announcement of more head coaching interviews taking place.
Yep.
Seems like some places have settled in and some places are still on the hunt. And we've heard nothing out of Carolina. I wonder what Lombardi's thinking there. Speaking of, maybe we'll learn some stuff with the weekly wrap-up with Rap Sheet and Friends, us being the friends, he being Rap Sheet. In the 3rd hour, Ian Rapoport will be joining us.
Hey.
A lot of talk about him being a free agent coming up here soon.
Oh, yeah.
Former friend of the program. Then he backstabbed all of us, but he's still a guy that we obviously enjoy chit-chatting with. And then in the 2nd hour, Jordan Poyer is bringing it back.
Yes.
Because, we got a chance to chat with him last Friday. They have a big-time win. Now, game got rescheduled to Monday. Now he's coming back again on Friday, and he better have that little thing.
Need the hand pan.
The hand pan thing. And if he has shoes on, I'm going to be disgusted. Cannot wait to chat with him. AJ Hawk will join us, and there's storylines popping off all around the NFL. The Toxic Table is here at Ty Schmidt. You look great, pal.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. It might be, that I'm feeling full of love today.
Oh, I get
Feeling
it.
full of love.
I love this Packers team.
I do. But most importantly, I love Jordan Love. And I'm excited to, last weekend, that was great. That was awesome. First playoff game, he goes in there and just drops his nuts on the Cowboys. This is going to be a true test. Be a real test in the Bay, in Santa Clara. I am incredibly excited, and I tell you what, I think the Packers are going to win.
Whoa!
I do.
Ty, I love that you got yourself believing that's where you're supposed to be. I'll be excited to give out all of our picks later in the program on how we feel. You think Packers straight up in Santa Clara. That might not be the case because, Jordan Love's going against a rested defense that has been the top of the NFL for years and years. Last year, they ended their season, unfortunately, with injuries all over the place. This year has been a spiteful revenge, a get-back season for the San Francisco 49ers team, who seemingly all had the same exact thought process since week 1. Now, had a couple injuries in the middle of the season. Remember, they had a 3-game slide. When they lost. Remember, Brock Purdy, ain't that.
Guy stinks.
This guy sucks. There's a reason he was picked last pick of the draft. Because of this game. Remember, he went to Cleveland, guy couldn't play. Well, he also didn't have Debo, and he didn't have Trent Williams. So those are 2 massive pieces to the offense. Well, he can't play good if his good players aren't playing. Hello, this is the NFL. Those were the stories that were kind of popping off in the middle of the season. Since then, back to being the buzzsaw that we know them to be. This is their first time to appear this particular playoff period. I'm pumped to see what Niners team we have. Because if they're anything like they were last year going into the playoffs, in the first round of the playoffs that they got to play in, we're about to see some magical football between the Green Bay Packers and San Francisco 49ers. Now, off the field this weekend, there's teams making a lot of moves. The other half of the Toxic Table wearing a nice Buck shirt. Hey, Buck you, pal.
Hey, Buck you too, Pat.
Hey, New England Patriots are obviously a team that you would take a bullet for. A lot of happenings up there right now.
Yeah, kind of out of nowhere. Pete Thamel telling us all that Bill O'Brien heading
That is
up.
not his name.
What?
It's not how it's pronounced.
It's Tamel.
That ain't it either.
Pete Tommel.
Nope. It's not Buckeye Pete either.
No.
It's not any
Greasy Pete.
None of those.
None of them.
It is Pete the Authority
What?
Thamel.
Okay. Pete the Authority Thamel reported last night, kind of out of nowhere, Bill O'Brien heading to Ohio State. Did not expect this. This has kind of been the one piece after the Belichick leaving that everyone's been looking for. Is Bill going to stay? Is he going to be able to kind of change his offense depending on who we get in the draft at quarterback? So that came out of nowhere. But they're bringing in Jeremy Springer from the Rams to see if he can be the special teams coordinator. Michael Hodges, who is a 6-foot brick shithouse who coaches linebackers down in New Orleans. They're bringing him up for a DC kind of interview, which kind of stinks because New England was assuming Mayo offered the DC to Steve Belichick. If he's bringing in,
I just saw 2 leather things that were imprinted with Mayo and SB.
That was
for Steve Belichick.
one last session.
Yeah.
That was probably one last, gun range.
That was by Steve Belichick's wife posted.
Yes, posted.
Onto her Instagram story about Mayo having these pistols crossing that has been, what's that called? You got it on your leg. Branded into some, you remember when he...
I certainly do. I certainly do.
Forgot about that.
Branded into some leather
Yes.
at like Old Towny State Fair type
Bingo.
thing. Showcasing that Steve Belichick and Mayo were obviously the bestest of friends.
Yes, and so that was kind of the assumption. Oh, sweet, we're running it back. This is clearly a nice little gift. Hey, let's do this thing. Turns out it's more so could be a parting gift for Bill Belichick.
Gotta go with my dad.
Excuse me, Steve Belichick going with Bill Belichick, assumably down to Atlanta. But there are some other ones. Obviously, Cliff with the Bears. That's a huge deal because everyone's assuming, hey, if they're interviewing Cliff, bringing him in, then they're probably going to take Caleb Williams. Where will Justin Fields go? The Panthers, you mentioned. They interviewed the Bucs offensive coordinator Dave Canales. So that is what they're doing right now, at least down in Carolina. And then Titans, they interviewed Brian Johnson, the Eagles OC.
He's getting a lot of interviews.
Yeah, who no fan base is happy about. If you search Brian Johnson on Twitter,
Eagles offensive
coordinator, obviously the reports from Rap Sheet and Schefter will pop up. Hey, he's interviewing here. Give that a couple scrolls to see what the fans of those towns are thinking. They're not happy about it, but Bobby Slowick also got a Titans interview, and Aaron Glenn, which a lot of people are saying might be a done deal, but he's also getting a Falcons interview. And Raheem Morris, Chargers. Chargers have done, Vrabel, Harbaugh, Raheem Morris,
David Shaw.
Don't know if they've done.
Richard Sherman came out to bat for, by the way. Richard Sherman publicly said, David Shaw's getting in. Yes, this is a great hire if possible. Not that means anything, but I do think David Shaw's name has been chatted about in NFL circles for a long time. Him officially getting an interview this cycle is obviously good news for him, and Stanford people believe in him.
Yeah, and everything's coming down to Monday. It feels like this next 3-day period is going to be huge because the 22nd, I think, is when you can officially start hiring the head guys, and who knows what the offensive coordinator situations and the defensive coordinator situations like the Bears and the Patriots. But at least, Monday is kind of that, hey, here we go. So these next couple of days, those second interviews are going to be important.
Massive interview that was taking place or announced to be taking place yesterday. Cliff Kingsbury with the Chicago Bears. If you recall, Cliff Kingsbury, formerly of the Cardinals, formerly of USC, before Cardinals, and then Texas Tech. He now back at USC this past year, kind of after the year he was fired, still getting paid handsomely from the Arizona Cardinals, looking so cool.
So cool.
The best.
So cool all the time. Properly jocked, always super handsome.
Yeah.
Good beard.
His dad's a Marine from Texas. Hoorah! So, just one of the coolest guys of all time. He was with Caleb this entire year out at USC. So him getting an interview with Chicago Bears for the offense coordinator job isn't just like, oh, maybe Cliff Kingsbury's back calling the shots in the NFL. It's like, wait a second. Does that mean they're taking Caleb Williams? What does that mean for Justin Fields? Whoa. I'm excited to hear Zito's thoughts whenever he makes his, hey, we're white. Hey, we miss you, buddy. We love you. Can't wait. He's doing great things right now, obviously, with his family. I think he's going to be phenomenal father.
Oh, yeah.
The little minor details that Zito goes the long way for, like that's a big part of being the dad.
Papa Z.
I cannot wait to see Zito do his thing.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, Zito, okay, we need you to live long.
Come on,
Hell
come on,
yeah.
Need
Come
you to
on,
live long, Z.
Live long.
Lead you to live long. One half of the hammer, Dahn. Cowboys, Stefon Diggs. The Pittsburgh Steelers allegedly about to be in the coordinator interview camp. I'm excited to see what names pop up over there.
Very, very exciting. I think I saw a stat yesterday. Since 2005 of the 6 coordinator hires were from in-house, Todd Haley being the only one out of house, and that was actually the best offense that they had. with the Killer Bees. Did not lead to a Super Bowl, but it was damn good offense. So I'm excited they're going to go out of house. They're looking at the 49ers, quarterback coach, run game coordinator, pass game coordinator. Anyone from that tree, I think I'll be happy with, because that tree right now is that's a redwood, okay?
Why don't you just go get Mike Shanahan?
Ooh.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, why don't you
The creator of it all?
Yeah.
The vet?
He's retired, having a fun time watching his kid do his thing and watching his offense kind of permeate through the entire NFL. It's evolved, obviously, and taken over. He's being said to be way ahead of his time. But how do you find that particular guy?
It's a good question.
How do you find who's the right one? Because there's been people that have been hired out of trees that seemingly have it all figured out, and then they suck as a head coach or as a coordinator. Not easy to find talent. I'm excited to see whose names pop up where, and inevitably how the fans react. Like you talked about the Brian Johnson stuff. That does not matter. No. The instant, immediate reaction. Do you want to win the press release? Probably.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot easier if you win the press release. But nothing matters until the season starts. And if the person stinks, it's going to get loud. And if the person's great, you're a hero. And the person might be great who stinks early because they haven't figured it out yet. But will you ever get to the chance to see if they're great or not? That's the NFL coaching cycle in a nutshell, pretty much.
And the good news with whoever gets hired as the Steelers OC, the bar is set very, very low. So
I don't know. Mason Rudolph won for 300 yards.
Ball
And that's also it's also the tough part is if they get an OC who comes in and turns this Steelers offense into a juggernaut, that guy's gone in 2 years, and then you're right back at square one.
Figure
you gotta
that
get a new
out.
guy.
I'd rather just have that be an issue because that's never once been an issue.
Okay, sounds like you're speaking for all of Pittsburgh right there. Let's talk about this weekend's games a little bit. Saturday matchups, 9.5-point spreads.
Jeez.
Okay, so we got the Texans at the Ravens. We're learning some stuff about this Texans teams and more that makes us like it. Now, obviously, we are massive fans of Lamar Jackson, massive fans of the culture that Harbaugh has instilled there, the history of Baltimore. Love Ronnie, one of their biggest fans.
Yep.
We like Jimmy's Seafood. I love that place, famous seafood.
Not the people.
They brought cicadas back from a 20-year hiatus,
they
if you
did.
recall, and potentially, I'm not even getting into the other thing.
But they did.
Now's not the time for us to do that.
There's a chance.
So we got a lot of love for both
Look
these
into
teams.
it a little bit.
But it feels like the Ravens, we've already got a chance to learn and know over the years. So a lot more Texan stuff is kind of rolling out to introduce us to this brand new Texans team. Rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, young players at very important positions across the board, all bought in. A Houston Texans fan base all the way back. And the more clips that we see from this particular team, the more reason to say, wow, it sucks to be in the same division as the Houston Texans right now. And that would have never been something uttered about 9 months ago, 10 months ago. Listen to the most recent clip that has hit the internet of D'Amico Ryans and the boys on the sideline talking about, all of their first times being in this position that they're in.
You know that you feel it instantly. Like I'm standing there in a team meeting, I'm like, oh, what do I say to these? Like everybody locked in, ready to go. Like,
So on TV?
yeah,
Doing a great job.
the first one. I'm talking about Tuesday, how locked in everybody. You know,
This is a one-lifetime opportunity, man. We got what we need in the locker room.
let's go. You know, one at a time, like we've been doing, man. It's special.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about it yesterday about how Vrabel's leadership style was as if he was one of the guys in the locker room, but he is certainly the guy in the locker room. The team views him that way. He's out there with boxing gloves in practice. But whenever he says something, hey, this is how we're going to go. Although Vrabel and D'Amico are very different personalities, it appears from the outside looking in, he's the guy, he's just the captain of the locker room. Like this is what I'm the one making the decisions, where we're going, how we're going. Coaches are going to coach. I'm here to help. But also the boys respect and appreciate him. That's a beautiful thing. And I don't know if that's going to be easy to find anywhere else. You have to have a special type of guy with massive football IQ and a resume that automatically earns credibility with all the players. Have to have a personality that you're likable, have to have a work ethic that you're always there, and then you have to have a transparency and an honesty where he's talking to one of his players. He's like, to be honest, I had no idea what I was going to, I don't even know how to, like that's not a normal coach to player type conversation. It's beautiful in Houston right now. I'm not saying I'm picking them over the Baltimore Ravens.
Sure.
Because we all have massive respect over the culture in Baltimore, and I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. I think 9.5 is way too many points, but it is beautiful what they've been able to do down in Houston so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously he does because he played in the NFL and was very good, so he obviously has an ego, but the seemingly having just, like, an absence of ego. You know, like, you get in a position where he's in, where we see a lot of like these young head coaches who do well and just immediately get all this praise heaped on them and talk about how good they are. And like, it's natural, it's human nature that some of that would maybe go to your head. But like in the clip we saw yesterday where, he's not meddling in the offense really. Like he understands, like, Bobby Slowick is the one, hey, great call, love that, just all that kind of stuff. Being able to say that kind of stuff to Stroud, that's just like a very human moment where right before a playoff game, like you wouldn't necessarily think a guy in that position would be doing that, but that's obviously why the players love him too, because they know there's no bullshit with it.
And I love that CJ Stroud was like, hey, that was good me. Hey,
yeah.
Good me. That was a good message, That means CJ very comfortable.
Yeah.
As he should be, which also showcases the CJ's leadership. It's like he's not scared to just go up to the head coach and be like, yeah, good speech. And you hear the way everybody else talks about him. They have a monster down there.
Oh, yeah.
They're all so young.
Yeah, juggernaut. Colts are screwed.
Watch your mouth.
For a long time.
Okay, there's other teams in the division, too. We don't just need to point the red dot at the Indianapolis Colts. But, yeah, we're certainly in a tough position. But we got AR and Shane Steichen.
Exactly.
Now, we've seen AR for 5 games. Whoa,
Great.
Electrifying.
Great 5 games.
Maybe greatest football player of all time in those 5 games are Shane Steichen. So we hope he's able to survive. And your greatest ability is availability, and his capability is obviously through the roof. So hopefully those things all tie together. But everything you see from the C.J. Stroud, D'Amico Ryans, Houston Texans, see Will Anderson, you start throwing in people on the defensive side, it's just like the absence of ego is real, but they're all going the same.
For sure.
Anytime you get a whole group to go this way, that means everybody's bought in. It's not easy to get that. There's always going to be people that are maybe a little bit upset about their playing time, don't like how somebody said something to them, maybe don't believe in the messaging that's taking place, especially with a rookie head coach finding his crew, by the way, his staff, who's coordinators. How about the linebacker coach? How about the wide receiver coach? Like him hiring all these people, they haven't been able to prove that they could win together. There's no resume that says that this group down in Houston is a winning group. That is normally the instant credibility builder. They don't have the benefit of that. So to have everybody already bought in, it's like the leadership on display down there is something that is, I think, an anomaly. I think it's going to be difficult for anybody else. Look what happened in Denver this year.
Yep.
Sean Payton, incredible football coach. We all agree, right?
For sure.
Massive football brain. We've enjoyed every time we've gotten a chance to chat with him on this show.
Love him.
Watching him, love everything about him. Look at how that year went. Well, we're still trying to figure it out. We're still trying to find it out. Like, there's a lot of great coaches where it takes a long time to get everybody rowing in the right direction and in the same direction. And D'Amico's been able to do that quickly. It's sustainable, too, obviously. And it's a problem for everybody in the AFC South and the AFC, I guess.
Well, don't worry. I mean, you guys were just one catch away from beating them and being in the playoffs, and they weren't. So, you're going to be just fine, okay?
We would have been AFC South champs.
But they have impressed everyone. They, as far as all the games this weekend, they have the most public money on them out of all the games. 70% of the bets are on the Houston Texans to cover the 9.5 this weekend, and that is the highest percentage this weekend. And everyone's huge believers.
Weather in Baltimore?
Wind. A little bit of wind. Nothing.
Nothing like last week?
No, nothing like last week.
Because 9.5, a lot of weather people probably think to themselves, well, that's way too much.
Well, yeah, that's probably part of
game.
it. Like, because they're thinking Lamar's gone under in every single postseason game he's been in, so it could be a lower scoring game. If you do the math, it's hard to score enough points to cover 9.5 if it's going to be a lower scoring game. And it could be pro-Texans and anti-Ravens since they haven't been great in the playoffs. This is obviously a much different team, but that's where we sit at now.
Yeah, the 70%, I think is what it said, was the money on the Houston Texans. That's a lot, but let's remember this year we had a 82%er or a 92%er.
90,
a 92%er with the public money where it ended up hitting. This does not mean we do not appreciate the Baltimore Ravens for what they are. The Baltimore Ravens, they're also in their first year of this new offensive system.
Yeah.
So they're only getting better. Now, how will the layoff affect it? Okay. Did they get rusty?
TBD.
Did they lose some of the chemistry that they earned throughout the season, playing incredible offense? Lamar Jackson being a part of MVP conversations and still not playing fourth quarters of multiple games because they just blew people out so bad. They've been the most complete dominant team, so they're going to be a buzzsaw for anybody to have to play against. But this Houston Texans team, I think they got a real opportunity. And then you think about this other, matchup on Sunday. There's a game taking place in Detroit Rock City.
Wow. Yep.
Yeah.
Where it is the second most expensive ticket in the history of the divisional round.
Crazy.
Whoa.
For our friends at SeatGeek.
Damn.
Average ticket price, $1,131 for the Bucs-Lions game. The highest was the Brady Breeze divisional round game in 2021. This is the second highest of all time. Obviously, Foxy has a couple tickets he's getting to go.
Yep.
Thanks to our friends at SeatGeek, who currently have a brand new playoff code.
Yep, 15% off, up to $50 on all NFL playoff tickets using code PMS Playoffs. That's code PMS Playoffs. 15% off, up to $50 on all NFL playoff tickets, not just the Lions game. Don't pay full price for that one.
No,
don't
take
pay,
$50 off of that.
Don't pay full price for any of the NFL tickets this weekend on the #1 ticket app, SeatGeek.
Way to go.
Hell yeah, Tony.
Clean.
Shout out to SeatGeek. They've been with us since the very beginning, and they're the ones that provided us these particular stats and said, look at this. Would you have ever expected that in Detroit? How about for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield leading the charge? This is must-see. This is Detroit's entire city, entire fan base coming together, and it's not an easy ticket to get to, but the game is about to be electrifying, I assume, in there.
Yeah, 100%. These are expensive because this is once in a lifetime. And at my age, like, you don't get many chances to have a once in a lifetime moment. So I had to go. So shout out to you, shout out to SeatGeek. And I mean, when I'm there, I'm probably getting to get to see a little bit of Barry Sanders, a little bit of Calvin Johnson, a little bit of Eminem, Tim Robinson, Ninja. That's once in a lifetime. That's why these tickets are so expensive. And that's why I've been thinking about it every single day of every single hour this entire week. I'm very, very fired up.
It has become a little bit of a Hollywood spectacle before the game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
This has never happened to Detroit.
There's going to be more people there. Like, he listed off a bunch of people. I assume there are a lot of Lions.
Jack White needs to be there.
Taylor Lautner.
Tim Allen.
Yep.
Tim Allen.
Need to have Jack. Need to.
Yeah.
Need
Center
it.
stage.
He should play the Star Spangled Banner.
Maybe the.
And I know
Igloo will
Eminem
be
doesn't perform. I don't know if that's going to happen, but the Eminem doesn't perform a lot, I don't think. Remember, he came out with like a boxer and just like hyped him up.
Yep.
I don't know how Eminem's made billions of dollars.
Right.
Probably.
So it's probably hard to do the whole, I'm not your clown.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not your puppet. I'm not going to do it.
I did it already.
But if he was to walk out.
Just once.
Can you imagine?
Hoodie up, hat with MCDC lurking over the shoulder.
Yep.
Jared Goff on the other side. Penei Sewell lined up.
Might as well cancel
Decker.
the game if they do that.
Can you imagine hoodie up, lights off, he comes out, lose yourself, intro comes out, and then they flip the hood off, and it's Kid Rock, and he screams, my name is Kid.
Ball with the ball, the bang, diggy, diggy, diggy,
And then M comes out and they do a duet.
And then at the end of that, and it goes right in a boom, boom, boom,
Bum, 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 bum.
And then, Detroit's like, yeah, everybody sees this Lions football team, but remember, we've been contributing to society throughout the entirety of this Detroit Lions dump season that they've had for 30 years. Now it's time to put everything together, and you got a hot Buccaneers team coming to town with a Vita Vea-led defense that is ready to hunt and to eat. Now,
And a pissed off Baker Mayfield.
well, CJGJ's no stranger to somebody potentially being a little pissed off about
what he does.
or says. CJGJ, obviously an absolute dog from New Orleans Saints and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now he's with the Detroit Lions. Seems like whenever you say that guy's a lion, like that guy,
Perfect fit.
hard hitting, starts fights, talks a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Has actually gotten other people to swing numerous times in very inopportune times. So, like, an under-the-skin type guy that you definitely love on your team, but certainly hate on every other team. Need those types of guys. He had been hurt. He's back. He basically took a shot at Baker Mayfield, saying that the wide receiver group of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that they currently have could be fantastic if they had a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
So didn't say Baker's name, but certainly in there. And he mentioned some of the names of wide receivers: Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Russell Gage. And then Baker Mayfield responded and said, I don't think CJGJ's been looking at any film.
No.
Russell Gage hasn't taken a single snap for us all year. So he responded to CJGJ in a way where he said, I have respect for CJGJ. We do that. I can't wait to see the pregame antics.
Oh, yeah.
CJGJ jogging around on there. Is there going to be chirping? Because Baker Mayfield, no stranger to,
Bingo.
Oh, yeah.
Planting the flag.
yeah, there's no stranger to any of that. It's going to be hostile. I think it's going to be exactly how MCDC and Todd Bowles kind of won it. How these two guys, Todd Bowles, defensive guy, last week against the Eagles, brought it. AQ Shipley did a great breakdown. You got 6-man protection, sweet, we're bringing 7. You got 7-man protection, sweet, we're bringing 8. And just completely screwed the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, was there any adjustments made by the Eagles? Brian Johnson, Nick Sirianni, a lot of people said no throughout the entire game, which is why people aren't necessarily thrilled that Brian Johnson might be the head coach. But the joust between Ben Johnson and Todd Bowles, and the vibes between MCDC and Todd Bowles, and a team that's been there recently, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and a team that never has, with the same mentality of being like a physical football team. Let's have a game in Detroit worth $1,131 per average ticket price.
Yeah, and allegedly last week at Ford Field, it was the second loudest stadium ever. I don't know if that's real.
Did they have the soundometer thing that we
not
got?
ours.
That's what I saw it on the internet, so I'm assuming it's real.
What was
So I
the
can't.
decibels?
Yeah, it wasn't
I believe
real.
they said it was 131 as loud as a jet engine.
131?
Arrowhead was Arrowhead, or was it Seattle? One of the
Arrowhead.
two. Arrowhead was like 140.
Yep.
In the Loud House the other day was 112.
Solid
It was 105.
105.
112, that was when the horsepower, that was your standard.
I had eyes on a
105.
112 at one point.
Yeah, I think it was a
Well, Bruce had it
112.
out the whole game, so we picked up all the noises the entire
Yeah,
game.
the 112 was from we were all just yelling into it, trying to figure out. I thought
What was
about
that?
what that visual would be now that I've done it already.
Might as well do it again.
What's done is done, okay? That is what we were doing. We were screaming into it, kind of like the people doing the glizzies on TikTok Live.
Yeah, you were
but-
Jelly Josh Chestnut.
Exactly, but that's what we were doing. That's how we got it up to 112, okay? It wasn't the actual crowd getting up to 112.
Yeah, I mean, of course that's what you were doing to it.
Yeah, all the time. You
You
should have
did-
seen Bruce doing it. Bruce was low. He had it down his throat. He
Yeah,
got
you
it
guys
up to
had-
116.
You had 6 guys on that at one time. It
yeah.
it got
Bingo.
loud. The decibels
Inside
got
everybody.
real loud. RG3 and Jay Gruden are still spatting.
Yeah.
And it's getting to a level where, as spectators, the people that watch like Real Housewives of things, and maybe like other, what they call trash TV,
Sure.
where you like to watch the drama, and you love to sip the tea,
Yeah.
and then you like to change the channel and be like, whew, happy I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's currently happening between Jay Gruden and RG3.
Yes.
They are currently on the screen where we are watching going, whoa, happy I'm not them.
Yeah.
And it's getting louder and louder and louder. There's been a deleted tweet now talking shit directly to RG3 from Jay Gruden. I feel like Jay Gruden said, you weren't good enough. Kirk was better. Cleveland didn't want you. Baltimore did either. Obviously, it's the guy who said I are a punt returner. Quit blaming me, says Jay Gruden. And he might have muted that conversation and moved on with his life, but the world saw it. This came after RG3 did his entire podcast cut, pretty much, about the Jay Gruden situation, where he described different situations where there was a team meeting and some things were said, and Jay Gruden described RG3 in a manner that was negative to the team, but RG3 came back and said, you told me to do that, then you didn't have my back. Seems like these two do not like each other.
Not at all.
And they've been holding on to this for a while. And then now here we are in 2024 talking about a drama that happened in a building that's brand new with a team with a new name.
Yeah.
And we're all just kind of hanging on at bated breath to see who wins this. I think there's a chance that maybe they shake each other's hands.
I don't know.
Where they embrace each other and they hug each other and they keep it about sports.
No.
Because that's what we signed up
Bring it back to the
to
fans.
do in this entire thing. But also, there's a chance, because I saw the boy, Will Compton's take on this. He was in the building during this entire thing. And when RG3 threatened Jay Gruden for dead bodies, he said, I know where the dead bodies are. One part of the video that I caught from Will Compton, who started this video with a look that I've never seen somebody look and go, you're going to want to hear the shit I'm about to say in my entire life. He said, there's dead bodies on both sides here. Now, I think the dead bodies are obviously negative that they can bring up, but not actual severity of it all. But whenever we see stuff like this, I don't love it, but boy, I certainly pay attention to it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a bad guy for that, I think, Ty.
Well, it's not going to end anytime soon. I think that's kind of what we've realized is like, because when it seems like it's kind of cooling down a little bit, whoever last responded, the other person is throwing one in there. And it's
you're not getting a last word.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also a situation like it was 10 years ago, so there's definitely revisionist history on both sides, especially when a situation like this ended shitty and unceremoniously. Like, both of them hate each other clearly and probably remember things very negatively, whether that's true or not. Like, so they both have their truths. And I don't know if they're ever going to see eye to eye on this, especially when something gets super public like this and they've taken very personal shots. Like, it's hard to just imagine, like, you know what, Robert? I'll come on your podcast. We'll clear this all up. We'll shake hands, and we'll just say, hey, we just didn't see eye to eye. Like, that's not going to happen. These guys are going to hate each other.
I have hope that it is going to happen.
I do too, because I thought we were supposed to just do love and sports.
I don't think Jay Gruden ever agreed to that.
No,
though.
I don't think he did. No, that'll never happen. But I am curious. Like, how can you not be? Every time one of those guys, the LaFleurs, the McVays, all of them get hired, it's like, hey, they were all on this staff in Washington. Like, I am genuinely curious to hear what did happen, because thinking about
the whole staff together,
having RG3, sure, bring them all in. Kirk Cousins, like, I do want to know what the hell went on, because obviously the RG3 injury, and Will Compton talked about that, how, like, it was a very serious injury, and it was just one of those things, especially in that time, where it was much harder to come back from. But, like, everything that happened after, I want to hear about, because now Kirk Cousins is one of the, I mean, he's top 5 in career earnings at quarterback. Like, he went on to have an unbelievable career, and what happened with RG3 obviously happened. So it's like, how did we get to that place? Jay Gruden and bought RG3 going into this, playing this game would be great.
You really want to play this game? Is that what you want to do?
Yes.
Jay Gruden says, it's time to play the game. And they said, go race a pigeon. Okay?
Yeah,
that was a little bit of a shot.
That was a shot.
That was a shot at not just RG3. That was a shot at, obviously, that damn bird.
Yeah.
That is a pterodactyl in comparison to a damn pigeon. RG3 did beat that.
Was it
hawk.
Eagle? Hawks?
It was a hawk because it was in Seattle.
Yeah,
Now I'm questioning if it was a pigeon or not.
That would be the biggest pigeon of all time.
Yeah.
Have you seen? You've been in New York. You've seen them things.
That's because they eat.
They take
rats.
their
Homeless poop.
You're talking
too.
about the rats, though.
Yeah, the rats are massive.
Pigeons are too. They take their own cabs.
They're huge.
Yeah, but I think pigeons get die when they get too fat.
Yeah, well, and they also
really?
Yeah, I think their hearts
eating
explode.
pennies and spit and homeless poop. That's not a great diet.
Yeah, pigeons, by the way, from what I've been told, very intelligent. Remember, Mike Tyson raced them.
Yeah.
He's not the only one. I watched a full documentary on that entire thing. Pigeon racing, real deal. A lot of money on it. And they're able to teach these pigeons
They were the original. They were the original cell phones.
Teach them, yeah.
Yeah, USPS.
RG actually responded to Jay Gruden later. He said, you call me a pigeon. It's kind of a compliment because they helped win World War I.
RG3 actually said that?
Yes.
And Jay Gruden slammed his phone into the ground. God damn it! Got me World War I.
Checkmate.
What am I supposed to do now? Shit!
It's getting loud, those two.
Yeah, very. It's interesting, though. You have to talk about it.
It is. It's everywhere.
Jay Gruden might get OC interviews. How do we know?
The fact that Will Compton's right in the middle of it, too, makes me happy.
Even better. Yeah, man, it just elevates it even more because it's clearly very serious for them, too. And Compton's taking it serious, too, but the way he talks about it.
But the way Will talks about the team meeting, he goes, tight butthole.
Yeah.
So I can already tell I wasn't lucky enough to be teammates with Will, although would have loved to share a punt team with Will Compton. I think through that entire thing. I have no idea. That would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
But I assume the way he was in the meeting is exactly how he was.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't get his back. Okay. You threw your teammates under the bus. Okay. Okay. Quarterback, head coach hate each other.
Yeah.
Offense coordinator don't like each other. All right, let's go, boys. Let's go win. He said it was a very awkward year.
Yeah.
I can imagine. We're reliving it all right now. I do not know if the Paisan, okay, ladies and gentlemen, joining us now is a man who's been in part of a lot of buildings. I do not know if any of them were uncomfortable or awkward, but I assume you have to work your way through it regardless. Ladies and gentlemen, friend of the program, one of the greatest Paisans to ever walk on this particular earth.
Hell yeah.
Michael Lombardi.
How are we doing today?
Hey,
How are we doing? I didn't know Jay Gruden was so good with Twitter. I mean, my Lord, he's fairly advanced.
He's made a few tactical errors through Twitter. Like he said IR a punt returner to somebody a couple days ago. In this particular time, he obviously said Baltimore did either, so I think autocorrect potentially got him.
Yep.
He does do 2 spaces after the period, which we appreciate, so he's like old school.
Of course.
But him and RG3 kind of getting after it a little bit here. Never something that you're going to promote, but have you paid attention to this at all? Have you paid attention?
Yeah, a little bit.
We all have, I feel like.
Hard not to.
I feel petty even paying attention to it, but it's real.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not? It's like all over my timeline. I'm looking for information on coaches and injuries, and all I see is he and Jay Gruden going back and forth. And I don't have a dog in that race, so I'll stay out of it. But to me, it's there's a little bit of revisionist history based on what I know.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what Ty said too, because 10 years can obviously change that. Where RG3 is now, where Jay Gruden is now.
Yeah.
Fascinating time. Hey, hope you boys figure it out.
We're sourced out.
Yeah.
Hope you boys figure
Counseling, yeah. We could use a little counseling, both of them. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
All right, Lombo, let's talk about some of the things happening around the NFL. Yesterday, news broke Cliff Kingsbury was going to interview with Chicago for the offensive coordinator position, which immediately leads to, well, he's tight with Caleb because he was there last season. That means they're going to move on from Justin Fields. The draft is going to be absolute chaos like we all kind of hope for as we're watching along. Whenever this type of thing happens, do you think there's a chance it's information gathering about Caleb through Cliff? Do you think they're very interested? How do you see that kind of working out, and what should we read into the tea leaves of all these things?
Well, I don't think the modus operandi to bring Cliff in was predicated on learning more about Caleb Williams. Cliff is too smart. He's not going to go in there and say anything that's not going to be positive about Caleb Williams. I think this is a genuine interest in what do we need to do to improve our offense? And Cliff is one of the candidates that you have to look at based on what he's been able to do in college and what he's done at the Arizona Cardinals. That's not, you judge him as a head coach, judge him as an offensive coordinator, and the ability to run a spread offense with the understanding of how to get the most out of the quarterback. And I think he certainly has proven that he can do that. So I think it's a good interview for the Bears to have. The one thing you want to do in these, when you're trying to, I think it's more about identifying what they want to be offensively than it is we're going to keep Fields, we're not going to keep Fields, I don't think you can reach that conclusion. I think sometimes we try to draw lines and reach a conclusion, and typically we're usually wrong in that area.
Okay, so any of these other coordinator interviews, should we read into them deeper, or should we take them for like actual interest with all that? Is anybody wasting time in these interviews, or are all of them actually real and genuine?
I think, look, to me, they have to be real because you got to set the stage for what you want as an organization. I think that's the number one thing. Who do we want to become? Right. John Schneider did a great job talking about what Pete brought to the team. He also did a great job about what they need. And the direction of the organization has to come from somebody, whether it's the owner. Here's the kind of team I want to have, and who can provide that type of team for me. And if you're just searching for a play caller on one side of the ball or not, you're really not you're trying to get a tactician. You're not trying to get a strategist, right? So to me, it comes down to who's determining the strategy. Who do we want to be? What kind of team do we want to have? That's strategy. Tacticians are people that call the plays. And so oftentimes that's why we have such a great turnover in the NFL is we're hiring tacticians without a strategy. And it's unfair sometimes to these coaches because they walk into an environment where they're not really conducive to what the strategy is going to be, and no one gives them that blueprint or formula. So I think there's a lot of all these interviews to me lead me to believe that there's not a strategy. One of the things Al Davis, many things he taught me, but one of the things I learned from him was watch the team that gets off the bus or watch the team in pregame warm-up. If they all look alike and they all have similar traits, big linemen, big corners, they have a grading system and they have a strategy. And because you have a grading system and a strategy, you build your team to adhere to that. And I think sometimes these interviews lead me to believe that they don't have that within the building.
Okay, so let's go to another place that's interviewing a lot of people. David Shaw adding to the list of, I think, Vrabel, Harbaugh, Raheem Morris, I think, is getting an LA Chargers interview. Whatever. Are they looking for somebody? Do you think they know what they want in a coach before going into these interviews, or are they able to be swayed on who and what they're going to be? Like Harbaugh, I assume, a little bit different than maybe a couple of the other people that are interviewing over there. Are they going into these with an idea of what they're looking for, or are they swayed in that particular interview strategy-wise, you think?
I think they should have an idea of what they're looking for. If you're the president of the Chargers, if you're Ed McGuire and you're Dean Spanos, you have to say, look, we don't have a very tough team. We're not physical. We have to find somebody who can bring mental and physical toughness to our team. We have to get more out of our offensive and defensive fronts. We've got to be able to make the quarterback not always have to win the game for us. So, and you can see a little bit of that who they're bringing in. Vrabel, Harbaugh, they're kind of along the same lines of how to build a team. the one thing I think is really clear over time is how you win a title, how you build a championship team is not going to change. It's never going to change. It's going to rely on accountability, discipline, fundamentals, teamwork, all those things. So at the core of what the Chargers need are the elements that go to building a championship team. That's why Harbaugh makes sense. That's why Vrabel makes sense. Look, I think Raheem Morris is going to be a great head coach. Again, he had the experience in Tampa. He was probably too young. But what he did in that second half against the Lions, I thought was a strategist, and then he called the game. It was impressive. So I think they're along those lines. They went through the play caller. We're bringing in Staley. We're bringing in Kellen Moore. I think they need somebody to really globally run their team and get that physicality and get that mental toughness to them.
Need a leader of men, which is what I hope people are going to continue to hire, because there for a bit after the McVay success. I don't want to blame McVay, but it was Sean McVay's fault, kind of. We got this 32-year-old that has come in here, and he's calling plays, and he's a genius. How can we get the next Sean McVay? And boom, that was all the hiring cycle. Then now, it feels like MCDC might have a little bit of a say. D'Amico Ryan's not calling the plays, but overall leader of men. It feels like that's becoming back to be. We need that in we need that in football. You need good leaders.
Yes.
You need great leadership in that whole thing, and hopefully people get it right.
I couldn't agree more. McVay's the perfect example, because my wife always would tell me all the time, stop, you're never going to find another Belichick. Like, they're not out there. And there's probably not another McVay out there, right? There's not another guy with his unique qualities, his skill set. So you have to find somebody that can fit within the framework of what you're doing.
Shane Steichen might be.
Mayo.
Ty has a question for you, Lombo.
Yeah, Lombo, speaking of leaders of men and a guy you just mentioned, when you look at the coaching landscape right now, it seems like Bill's linked to Atlanta. Dan Quinn is linked to Seattle. Aaron Glenn is being talked about in Tennessee, and we're hearing that Ben Johnson is like the main target of the Commanders potentially. Is Vrabel potentially going to be just kind of left out in these musical chairs? Like, is there a chance that it sounds like Carolina's almost maybe the only position where they don't know what they're going to do yet. Is it possible that Vrabel doesn't have a head coaching job this next year?
I mean, it's possible, but I can't see why it would happen. I mean, if I were David Tepper, I would be all over him. He's exactly what their organization needs. He's a commander. They need somebody to come in there. We've all read those articles about how much infighting there is in Carolina. Nobody's on the same page. Everybody thinks they report to the owner. They talk about, the dysfunction that goes within the building, and they have no toughness. The fans are impatient. I would think he makes a lot of sense for a lot of teams. So, I mean, right now through this cycle, you guys have heard it. I mean, Carolina looks like the lost shepherd. They don't have a vision or a plan. They don't know where they're going. And it starts with the owners not sure. Whenever you listen to this many people, here's what I do know. They've never dedicated a monument in Washington to a committee, right? There's no committee monuments in Washington, right? And so when you got all these people involved in a decision, you're just never going to make it work.
Buddy. The people that are in a position to make a decision, that is their job. Mm-hmm. And then them delegating that to a third party so that they can blame them if it doesn't work is something that is a massive issue. It's not just the fact that it happens in the NFL pisses me off. Obviously, it's billions of dollars. You're lucky to be in that chair where you're at. It's a cash cow. You're always going to be profitable. You at least should have to be able to do something good in the NFL world. Picking people to run your team should be it instead of hiring a third party. College, this is a college issue, bad, where president, athletic director, hire a third party. They pay them a shit ton of money. Mm-hmm. And then they tell them who they should hire. So then the president and the AD, if it doesn't work out, can go, we were told by the smartest of minds in this particular world, just no accountability anywhere. Yeah. And anytime you can just keep doing this, you can always just pass the buck. I think that is a sign of a bad operation. I think that is inevitably going to fail, personally. I think that is inevitably going to fail.
And most organizations function with job survival in mind, and that's what's happened. And, we learned about plausible deniability from the Watergate back in the early 70s, but plausible deniability runs all through the NFL.
Lombo!
Careful.
Don't you be bringing up Watergate right now. Okay, we've been in the middle of enough.
Okay.
We don't need... Hey, by the way, JFK... No.
Oh, we can talk about that.
No. Let's... I mean, this is...
Yeah, a lot of...
He knows.
Guy's been in the NFL for a long time. He's been studying the JFK situation.
He knows where the body is.
Long time as well. Con Man has a question for you, Lombo.
Yeah, Yeah, maybe it's because I'm a Patriots fan, but everything you guys are saying is just describing Gerard Mayo. So thank you very much for bringing up a leader of men and, not hiring outside to make organizational decisions. This is just music to my ears. But staying in New England, Lombo, Bill O'Brien, I'm not sure if it was out of nowhere. It was for me. Kind of just out of the building right away, going to Ohio State to be their OC. What do you think the process is now on the offensive side of the ball for the Patriots? Because obviously, all signs are pointing to a new quarterback. So are they hiring, or are they going to bring in guys who have plans for each of the rookie QBs, or how does the hiring process go now, especially when the QB is going to be a rookie?
I mean, listening to Mayo talk the other day, I think he understands that he's got to drive the philosophy of the offense, the defense, and the kicking game, and he's got to find people that are in concert with that philosophy. And, the good thing about Mayo is he's only been in one place. So he's going to have to spend time interviewing and finding people that say the things he wants to hear in terms of the vision of that football team offensively, defensively, and in the kicking game. And there's no ties. I think the best thing that could happen for Mayo is to have nobody from the past in the building, because what happens to most of these franchises that have great success, they become a remember when franchise. Well, this is the way we did it when Bill was here, and this is the way we did it when Bill was here. And then, look, the Miami Dolphins have struggled for years because they always would say, well, this is how Shula did it. Alabama, did the same thing. It wasn't until Nick came in from the outside that changed it. So I think it's probably a good thing that there are people leaving the building. Some might stay, but what you don't want is to become a remember when franchise. Remember when we did this or we did that? You're going to have to clear the deck.
Yeah, remember when? Banger of a song.
Oh, yeah.
Absolute banger of a song. I like how young he's hiring. I know, some of the old, all right, I'm not going to say
some of the older coaches
that have been around a long time. I don't think this is a shot at them not being great at their job, but it does feel like this is a calculated decision. We want youth, we want energy, we want the next, we want evolution in here. And I think Gerard Mayo, one of the only people, because of his success on the field, the respect that all of his teammates and coaches had for him, and I think the fans had for him, that could potentially follow Bill Belichick. Like Kalen DeBoer right now following Nick Saban. That's a tough. Those are tough shoes to be in, right? That's not a fun place to be, right, Lumbo?
No, it's not. And you just got to,
because the fans remember when. The fans remember when too. You're talking about in the building.
And he's got to manage those expectations. That's part of his job. He's got to manage those expectations, which I think D'Amico Ryans did a great job. He went down there and he managed the expectations of the Texans. He talked about getting good before we get great. And I think that's really something you have to do. Look, the table has been cleared. The Super Bowl expectations in New England are over. It's now about going from being good to great. They have to get good first.
I don't know if that's how all New England Patriots fans feel, right?
No, we talked about this. As a fan, you really aren't satisfied without a Super Bowl when you've won 6 of them and been to 9 of them.
That's hard to just hit that reset.
Exactly. As watching the team as on its own, though, it will be a Packers situation where it's hey, yeah, we want to go to the playoffs. Rookie quarterback, no matter who it is, you want to be in the playoffs. But as a fan, you want to win the damn Super Bowl.
Dan Orlovsky said trade out of there at 3.
Trade out.
Get better roster.
What do you think about that, Lombo? You think we should trade out, Lombo? Do you think,
no.
Or do you think maybe we stay at 3 and get a guy who might be generational? What do you think?
It's a feel good Friday. We saw his head just drop.
I love that. My point would be this: is I think unless you know the entire draft, right? There's a line of demarcation in every draft, right? So every draft has, some drafts have none, but most drafts have 5, 6, 7, 8 great players. And you want to get one of those 5 or 6, 8 great players.
What?
When you can't get one of those, then you trade away. I'm not sure anybody is equipped, even with the brilliance that comes with some people's ability to watch football. I'm not sure we're convinced that we know who all the elite players are in the league right now in college football. So I don't think you can start saying, let's trade down. Let's trade down. Trade downs happen. The history of trading down didn't start until 86. And the only reason it happened in 86 was because we were getting ready to make a pick in San Francisco, and all the picks that were supposed to be there were gone. And so we had no choice. So I think it's too early to talk trade up. It's too early to talk trade down.
Trading down, 37 years old. And
bingo.
Ever since then, It's been a magical tool to use if you don't think the caliber of player is available at the number that you're sitting at. Dan did say, though, I'm going to have to watch some more film to see.
That's right.
If
Good. That's encouraging. When he's done the interview with the OC job, that he can do that. That'll be perfect.
Smart. He did say, who would I be not to listen?
Sure. Yeah.
But I am not seeking.
Of course. I'd love to be in that room.
What's his name? What's his name?
I'm not even going down that road. Trust, you're not getting me. I'm having a happy Friday.
Yeah, right. Tone has a question for you.
I'm having a happy Friday.
Tone has a question for you, Lombo.
Lombo, I have a question about the Ravens and Lamar. 1-3 in the playoffs. The offense has not looked good. Do we think that was a Greg Roman thing? Do we feel more confident now that Monken's in with the Ravens offense moving forward in the playoffs?
I think I think trends are important, right? We look at these trends. Lamar as a favorite. Lamar as a favorite over 3 points. Here's his record. All those things, But this is a different Raven team, right? This is a different Raven offensive team. That Roman team was predicated really on just the run, and if they got behind in the game, they had no passing game to catch up. They really didn't. I complained about it for years. They had no real passing game to catch up. This is a different Ravens team. Now, this will be a challenge, but the challenge for them will be to be patient, right? They played the first game. It was the first game of the year. The speed of the front of the Texans gave them some trouble. When you play Lamar, you got to have 4 defensive linemen that can run, because he can run, and it's hard to tackle him. Now, I'm not suggesting he's going to run in the game, because his throwing has been really good this season. But it'll be a hard game for Houston, because they can't really get into a man-to-man situation, because that forces you to turn your back on the quarterback. He takes off. Their front has to play really well in the game, and they did in the first game. The key is going to be in this game is, can Can Houston make explosive plays, right? First play of the game against the Colts, touchdown. Wow. Made one-play drive against the Browns, a 4-play drive against the Browns. If they average 19 points on the road, right, they've only turned it over 6 times, but they have to make big plays, and Baltimore's a hard team to make big plays against.
The explosivity of the Houston Texans comes from that Slowick brain, too. Mm-hmm. These dudes are wide open. I mean, wide-ass open. And that was against a great Browns defense.
Right. Yes.
The way they draw things up and the way they, call the game as opposed to call plays, the way he sets people up, it's like Slowick is a mastermind down there. And CJ doesn't have a clue that he's not supposed to be as good as he is. You're talking about best rookie year of all time for a quarterback?
Yeah.
Of all time?
No, and they've done a great job of protecting them. They'll get in 7-man. They're not obsessed with getting 5 in a route. They're going to protect their quarterback first, which is the basic tenet of good offensive football. We can't let this guy get hit. Jalen Hurts was getting killed on Monday night. I mean, you can't get 5 out in the route all the time. They do a good job of protecting him. He's good with the football. Like I mentioned, he's only had 6 turnovers on the road. 3 of them came against Cincinnati. So they're good at protecting the ball. They know they have to make shots. They have to take their shots. If they don't, then it becomes a problem. And that's where their offense. They don't have a running game. And then when they get into the red zone, they're the 18th best red zone team in football. They can't run the ball in the red zone, right? They can't. And that's the hard thing to do. When you don't have a running game, it's hard to you need a little balance in the red zone. Those windows are so tight down there. And that's why they struggled in the first game opening day.
Especially against this Ravens team with the 2 linebackers that they have. Mm-hmm. They're going to make things real tough with a short amount of field. Before we get to the rest of the games this weekend and some of the picks that you like, we'd be remiss if we didn't ask about a human that you know very well. Amanda, you took a picture at the White House alongside of whenever he was getting some award of some sort. Bill Belichick, seemingly Falcon. Seemingly. Now, that is just kind of what's being reported, and also league circles are just assuming that that's where he's headed. Kirk Cousins was just asked about how he feels about Bill Belichick. Obviously, he complimented Bill Belichick in that entire thing. They need a quarterback down there. They're picking at 8. Do you think Bill Belichick and Kirk Cousins, if he was to go to the Falcons, would that be what Bill would be thinking? Would that be how do you think that would kind of go together?
Well, I mean, it's fairly obvious that Atlanta needs a quarterback. I mean, and so they're going to have to make some kind of decision. I think when you look at their cap situation, it may not allow itself to fit a number of high as Kirk Cousins is going to acquire into their cap. But that's something you need to explore if he were to take that job. I think right now, as he is in Atlanta and they're going through a discovery phase, I think a lot of it is about how the organization has run, the roles of the people within the organization. How is that going to impact what he wants to do? And that discovery phase is going to lead themselves to if they both want to move forward, right? So you cannot hire anybody until you have in-person interviews, and they don't start until the 22nd. So, they haven't met the mandatory minority hiring process of interviewing 2 minority candidates in person. So
a lot of people putting cart before horse here, you think? A lot of people are just assuming this is a done deal.
Yeah.
It is nowhere near that.
I think it's about discovery, right? But look, Cousins is going to have a lot of suitors, and the problem's going to be the teams that have the cap room are going to be able to fit it, and he's got to feel comfortable with going to a team where this will be the last stop for him.
Yeah, that could be a beautiful story. Old Bill Belichick and Kirk Cousins coming together at the very end. 2 seemingly very different personalities, but are they?
Yeah.
Are they the ones that need each other in the end? We shall see. A lot to happen before that could take place. Let's look at this weekend's game. Sounds like you like the Ravens over the Texans. Do you like them enough for 9.5? How about the other games? What should we be looking at?
I really like the Ravens. I think it's going to be – look, this is a round where the Cinderella slipper falls off. Over the last 10 years, the home teams have been 3-1. Now, that doesn't count in the spread. I think it's going to be hard for Houston to match this Baltimore team. They're rested. They're really good. They can throw the football effectively. I think the Niners are also in a really good spot. Look, I think Jordan Love's been tremendous, but I have a real hard time trusting the Packers' run fits. And the way Kyle Shanahan sets up his offense in terms of unique formations, how he's able to challenge the strength of the force player of the Packers defense, I think they'll run the football more effectively on them. And the Packers, if they have to play catch-up, all of a sudden that front comes into play. The most interesting game of the weekend are the Bills and the Chiefs.
Yep.
If you go back and watch the 20-17 game that happened in Kansas City, people talk about Kansas City's offense is broken. They averaged more yards per play in that game than the Bills did. The problem was they didn't have the ball enough. They only had 62 plays in the game, and they weren't able to – they turned it over twice. Mahomes is 8-1-1 as a dog in his career. And people are talking about, well, he's going to be on the road for the first time. You win 2 Super Bowls. You really care about being on the road in the playoffs? Seriously. I mean, seriously. Come on. I mean, is that the stupidest thing you ever? Oh, he's on the road. Well, it hurts your communication. But when you're a great player like Mahomes, you get it. Can Baker Mayfield, if you're betting the Bucs and taking the 6.5, you're saying to me that Baker Mayfield's going to throw the ball over 40 times and play perfectly. Because you can't run the ball in the Lions, and the Bucs can't run the ball, period. So I have a hard time with that. But my favorite play would be the over in the 49er Green Bay game. I like the Ravens, too.
All right. I appreciate the hell out of you, pal. Thank you so much for another round of greatness. Guys. I love the Hoosiers hoodie. You're the man.
Yeah, I had to put it on today for you for the little Hoosier, Hickory High. Have you been down there?
Yeah, I've stopped by.
That's a great spot. I love it.
A lot of history here in Indianapolis. I don't think a lot of people know that.
No doubt.
It's a beautiful place. Just like you're a beautiful man, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Lombardi.
Yeah. Thank God.
Oh. I've never heard him say, I don't know. Have you?
No.
Because he doesn't.
Never.
Just whole life football.
Yep.
Whole life.
The stuff he pulls. Like the stuff he pulls from is
1980.
unbelievable.
1986 is when that whole thing started.
Bingo.
Trading down because we at the Niners, all of our picks were gone. We had no idea what to do. So it really hasn't,
I mean, nobody tells stories about Al Davis. Like, nobody.
Yeah, it's phenomenal to hear Lombardi just spill his brain.
Yeah.
He's gotten a couple things wrong, though, and then people go to Super Bowl parades and call him out about it.
Yeah, that's right.
That'll happen.
He had a typewriter behind him. That's old school.
That's how long he's been covering.
Yeah.
This is before that.
His wife, too, just knows. Yep. Kids in football.
Yep. Both of them.
Yeah,
both of them coach.
Football guy, we're thankful for him. AJ Hawk will join us on the other side, as will Jordan Poyer. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change your life. We're in this together. Take 3.
Pat McAfee sell on your stunner at WrestleMania. Stunner! Where does that rank all time? That's got to be pretty up there.
Man, top 3. And I got to say top 3 because The Rock, number 1, the way he oversold, and Scott Hall and some of the other guys that took it. But I mean, Pat has a natural feel for the business, epic performer, great on the stick.
I apologize that you're a punk bitch.
Athletically, that match he had with Theory was awesome. And then the kicker was not only the sell of the stunner, but to lay there selling still guzzling the beer, the presence of mind to ad lib and improvise and like this is a moment without even thinking about it. I think he's amazing. He's very entertaining, and as a human being, I like him a whole lot. And here's an off the record story. The second night that we were at Mania, I was just planning on drinking whiskey with my Broken Skull Sessions crew. And so we had a bottle all lined up, and we were just going to drink during the show and show respect to the people that were working. Well, Vince called me into his room and said, "Hey, man, would you come out in the end, stun me, McAfee, and Theory?" And I said, "Sure." So I couldn't drink until after the show. Okay, so the show happens. I go out there, stun all those cats. Brock Lesnar gets done with his match, the main event with Roman Reigns. And me and Brock have been wanting to bond together and have a few cocktails to begin with. And he goes, "Hey, man, you got anything?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Where are we meeting?" He goes, "My locker room." So it was myself, Brock Lesnar, Larry, one of the trainers who's been there forever. You know Larry? And Pat McAfee.
What a day, what a dream, what a life. Now I'm going to have a couple more Steve Weisers. What? Maybe a little whiskey. What?
And we took down a fifth. We just passed the bottle around. At first we were drinking out of little cups. Then it just turned into the bottle. And we took down a fifth at Maker's Mark in about an hour. And then we all went our separate ways. And I heard through the grapevine that a couple of those guys woke up with severe headaches.
Really? And I don't want to undersell this. Really hungover. You know what I mean?
From what you had inside the ring that we saw on camera, and then what was there a thing afterwards?
Well, there might have been, yeah, a lot afterwards.
But it was a bonding moment, after a big show like that of four guys, and I just barely met Pat, but he was already one of the boys because of his football background and how everybody, in WWE has taken to him. And me and Brock's relationship goes back a long way, as does Larry. So it was a good time, and that was one of my highlights.
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey, what? Let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for. The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers. You pig! Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Sport! Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Feel Good Friday, January 19th, 2024. Hour 2 of the program starts now. Football! Oh, it's happening tomorrow and Sunday in a massive way. Let's go. 2 games tomorrow, 2 games Sunday. That'll decide who is headed to the conference championship weekend, and then who will go to the Super Bowl in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. We are just a few weeks away from crowning either a returning king or a new king of the NFL. At the beginning of the season, every single team started at the bottom of the mountain. They all had eyes and dreams and aspirations on the top of the mountain, which is hoisting that beautiful trophy over your head while the confetti falls in Sin City, Nevada. Now there's only 8 teams left that are still climbing. Whoa. 4 teams will remain on Monday. And then there will be a story about one of these teams who were able to grab the bull by the horns, hop on the back of that son of a bitch, and ride it to the top of the mountain while everybody else was on slow-ass horses. Which team will go into the offseason saying they're a champion, and which teams will join the 31 teams who have a failed NFL year? That's on the line tomorrow. The Talks the Table is here. At Boss Connor and at Ty Schmidt. One half of the Hammer, Dahn. Cowboys, Stefon Diggs is here. AJ Hawk, not available.
What's he doing?
No, his internet's down. I guess in Ohio, there's an entire part of town that's
Can't
down.
launch a hotspot?
Well, from where he's at up in that attic, I have no idea if that hotspot is even possible, but I do know he is probably on the horn with somebody right now. Not happy about it. That's a man who gets upset about technology things not going properly, especially if you paid for double backup, triple backups. His whole house and the area that's surrounding it is down internet-wise, so if they ever get it back, he will join us. Jordan Poyer will join us in about 18 minutes or so. There's a lot of stuff happening around the NFL. Obviously, we got some hirings potentially happening up in New England. We have Jordan Love taking on this San Francisco 49ers defense that is going to be talked about as being historic whenever it's all said and done. Do you know when Kyle Shanahan started preparing for the Packers team?
What was that?
During the game against the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, my God.
So the San Francisco 49ers not only have a more rested team, but also a more prepared team because Kyle Shanahan actually gave away when he started thinking about the Packers being their next opponent.
How quickly did you guys get to work on the Packers?
We were already in here, so we were doing it that day. We had mixed in a little bit earlier in the week, hitting up a couple of teams, but started really focusing on them halfway through the second quarter. Then they scored at the end of the second quarter, so I kind of did both at halftime, and then third quarter I was set on one team.
Okay, so does that worry you, Ty? This guy's been thinking longer about you than you've been thinking about them, Ty Schmidt?
No, not really, because that's the smart thing to do. I mean, the Packers absolutely beat the shit out of the Cowboys, so he should have been doing that. He should have been thinking, hey, there's a chance that we're still going to play somebody else, so let's just kind of avoid that. We knew about midway through it was going to be Packers and Niners. So I'm glad, Shanny got a little leg up on prep work and all that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you what, the game's not played on paper.
No, it isn't.
It's played on the football field. So, extra couple days of prep, fine by me. Doesn't matter.
Does this Packers team have a chance?
I think they do. I really do. I mean, Lombo, touched on it, and that is like the big concern, obviously, is that the Cowboys, got so far behind that they kind of just had to abandon the run completely, and they had to throw to get back into it. That's the Achilles heel for the Packers, is they have a very tough time stopping the run. So the worry is, yes, that they're going to get a heavy dose of McAffrey, and he's going to rush for 170 yards and 3 touchdowns or whatever. But I think it's the same exact formula as it was last week. They need to win the coin toss, get the ball, and go score right away. Like, they can't play from behind. And I think it's the same thing as last week. They have to win the turnover battle, and they probably have to. I'm not saying they have to have like a pick 6 or score a defensive touchdown, but Purdy probably needs to play his worst game of the year in order for them to win.
Speaking of Purdy spoke about the playoffs this year versus last year. Remember, last year dropped in the middle of the season, Mr. Irrelevant, never even
buzzsaw.
Showcases a sign of weakness as soon as he drops in there. Here's him chit-chatting about it.
I feel like it's a little different, just last year, still trying to find my way in a sense. I got thrown in towards the end of the year, and so every single week I was, still trying to play good and learn, who I was as a quarterback and obviously get more familiar with playing within the system. So those are all things that were sort of on my plate last year, and then obviously trying to win every single week and get this team to the end. And so now, I guess this year, just being more familiar with the offense, who I am, and all that, it's a little different. But it's good to sort of, watch the games from last year and sort of remember, just the feeling and the emotions of, playing in a playoff game. It's good. It's huge for me as a quarterback to, go back to those moments and sort of remember what it feels like. So those are things that I'm sort of banking on.
What did it feel like?
Yeah, I feel like, the first game was a little bit tense, just in terms of, every play mattered, not trying to turn the ball over, but at the same time, making plays still and winning and doing what it takes to win. So those were things I sort of had to learn, and watching the film. It's sort of, you get back into that feeling of last year and the first time in a playoff game. And so it's sort of good to remember those kinds of things moving forward, sort of understanding what to expect, for the first playoff game this year for me.
See, C.J. Stroud's dealing with all the things that he was dealing with last year. Now, C.J. Stroud, number 2 overall pick, vastly different than the last overall pick of the draft. But whenever you're a rookie dropped in there, everything's probably coming so strong.
Yeah, from both sides,
Probably coming.
You're coming
so fast.
Coming on the left, coming on the right, coming in your face.
Coming from behind.
Yeah. Boom.
I mean, it's just coming everywhere.
Yeah. Tough.
It is a juggernaut of coming from all aspects of life.
Storm.
Hey, you got to do press conferences now.
What?
Hey, you got to learn the entire offense now.
What?
Hey, you got to lead this team now.
What?
Hey, you got to break down this defense that is also paid $100 million, and you have to react in the moment, in real time, without thinking. And even if you don't know if something's real, you have to have trust and faith that it is, even though you've never done it before. He has a lot going. Now, he's a veteran.
Oh, yeah.
Now this guy's been through it. He's also experienced, I guess, what Jordan Love is experiencing right now. Because although he is in his 4th year of being an NFL quarterback, this is his first time going in. And we never really chat about it. Jordan Love not knowing what he doesn't know.
Right.
We never really chat about, hey, he's still developing, still growing. Normally the conversation is just Jordan Love is so good. We talk about C.J. Stroud obviously being phenomenal, and they were comparing their first ever playoff game starts, but it hasn't been like Jordan Love's a rookie at all, seemingly, and the expectations haven't been set on him like that. With Brock Purdy, the expectations are our first-round expectations.
Yeah.
Like Brock Purdy's got to play top 5 in the league. Jordan Love, I think he's quickly making his way there as well. So these two almost seeing each other in the mirror at this point.
And on the flip side of that, too, it's like if the Packers were to win, then people are going to kill Brock Purdy and say the same thing that they've been saying all year about, hey, this guy's a 7th-round pick. Like, he isn't – the only reason he's worth the shit is because of the weapons around him. Whereas if the Niners go out there and win convincingly, like, the story about Love will be like, he's the guy. He had a great first season. You know, like Purdy doesn't have the same, like he needs to win this game because if he doesn't, the media and the scrutiny that he's going to get is going to be much worse than what Stroud or Love or any of these other guys will get.
Not us, though.
No,
not us.
No.
Because the dude's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's young, too.
Oh,
Still
yeah.
has a roommate. You know, he was talking about where didn't know what last year was going to be like, how every play matters. He was also worried about, am I still on this team next week?
Exactly.
Am I able to make rent in San Francisco, which is absurdly high? He's got a roommate still, probably learning a lot about him. What are we doing in the kitchen? What's in the fridge? Do we leave half sips left in the fridge?
Yep.
Whose is that?
Who's
Your name on that?
Who claims that? I mean, he has a lot going on as a child. And now here he is a year later, and it's just like, yeah, Brock Purdy's a stud, and he's being treated as like a 40-year-old.
Yeah, and I almost feel bad for him because he'll never have the house money thought that the other guys do. Like, he's not playing with house money, and he's never been able to play with house money. And it does stink. It's, Brock, sorry about it, but you have to win. Like, if you don't win, whether you're the last pick or the backup or now the starter, like, you have to win. Or like Ty said, he will get crucified. And I think from the outside looking in, like for all of us, it will just be like, what happened to this Niners team? Because it was kind of another year where, hey, this is the year they're going to go. But if they don't do it this year, then it's even worse and louder for them.
Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, some pretty jocked white will be holding a boombox like this. In Debo and Trent Williams will be walking down to the field. That team knows what will be said about Brock.
Yes.
That team knows what will be said about them, to your point. And that team, I think, has been thinking about what has been said about them last year, this entire season. I know Lombo likes the Niners, minus 9.5. I think there's going to be a lot of people that just think to themselves, what that locker room and how that locker room treated last year has motivated them into this year. Are they going to let it go at the divisional round?
Exactly.
Is that going to be as far as they're going to go? I'm not 100% sure.
I had a question, and the fans don't think so. 64% is on Green Bay.
That's
a
lot.
This one a little bit more so KC and Buffalo, but this one, the Niners have had the Packers numbers the last few years, but the quarterbacks are different. A lot of the players on the Packers are different. But then KC and Buffalo, KC is basically the Patriots, and Buffalo is what the Colts were, what the Steelers were, trying to take down the Patriots every single year. It just seems like it never, ever worked. Does that ever creep into the players' minds in the locker room, do you think? Or I know it crept in the fan. Like,
I don't know if I'm the right guy to ask because it's me versus the ball every single week, so I didn't really think about it. But it did feel like whenever you were playing the Patriots, there was an expectation it's going to be a tough one to win.
Yeah, a little different.
And now granted, I was a part of a couple wins, a lot of losses against the Patriots for our Colts team because we were still scheduling the Patriots as if Peyton and Brady were still playing against each other when Andrew Luck came in and an entire new literal building was starting in there. So it wasn't fantastic. But yeah, I think the Bills and the Chiefs, and we'll talk to Jordan Poyer here in about 7-8 minutes, I think they both feel as if, this one could go either way. I'm sure that the Chiefs understand that the Bills are going to be tough for them for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
They're talking about Andy Reid maybe retiring.
Yeah,
did you hear that?
Wild.
That came yesterday.
Yeah.
That just crossed my mind.
There was some talk. Was there some talk this last offseason about it?
Boys, this is strictly, hey, Tomlin story's over. All these other coaching, Sirianni story's over. Mike McCarthy story's over.
Aaron Glenn's going to Tennessee.
Yeah, bingo. Where are we going now? Hey, Andy Reid might retire. Hey, Sean McDermott, he might be out if they lose at home again. There's no way Andy Reid is
65.
No way.
All speculatory.
Yeah. Don't even.
It was on the internet, though.
Oh, yeah.
There's numerous. I think.
I saw multiple reports.
Obviously, Florio. I think Florio sees everything now.
Right.
And then it's. He's the OG information aggregator.
Yeah. The Godfather.
That is what he is. And I don't know if Ari and all of them know that. Do they?
I think they have a photo of Florio hanging in their room. Like, got to be like this guy.
Pro Football Talk, the aggregator of every rumor that is potentially anywhere.
Yes.
Putting it into
one place.
How he frames it.
Right.
Which is big brain.
Yep.
Absolutely. Been very accurate, long time on a lot of stuff. Certainly missed on other stuff.
Sure.
Had narratives on certain things, but whenever you're covering a league for 30 years or whatever, 2 different companies, selling his business multiple times. Florio's a business genius as well. But I think he talked about it. I think there was somebody from CBS that talked about it. I think there's been a couple people that have brought up Andy Reid might retire, at the end of the year.
Solid.
It's like, I guess that is a thought because he's older, but with Patrick Mahomes being the age that he is,
bingo,
and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes' success being together, why would you back out of the middle of a dynasty? I'm not 100% sure if that would be the right move, and we would miss him. Jeez Louise, we would miss Andy Reid. As people that have never had him on this program, I don't think I've ever talked to him.
No.
Massive fan of everything he's about. And obviously, that's been since he was doing pump, pass, and kick.
Bingo.
As a 270-pound 10-year-old.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
6'4".
Yeah.
Sicilianoing everybody else in his age group.
Right.
Absolutely dominating him. We are big fans of it. We hope that's not the case.
Yeah, no chance, especially with Kelsey. What did Kelsey just say? Like, I'm not even close to being done with football. Though that stuff I feel like just comes out with some of these, dynasty type teams because they're going to
happen to you guys.
Exactly. Hey, are these guys going to get sick of losing? Like, is this the year, winning? Is this the year where they kind of finally call it? But with the Chiefs and everything, obviously that's great. If the Bills lose this game, that place is going to burn down. Because if the Chiefs lose, it's like, hey, Mahomes, he didn't have weapons, and some guys, obviously the Tony situation.
And this wasn't their best year.
Wasn't their best year. Things were weird. They're on the road. It's like this is Mahomes' first road playoff game. I think Lombo nailed that. Won a damn Super Bowl. Who gives a damn about playing on the road?
That's on the road, both of them.
But with the Bills, it's like, hey, they're finally playing the Chiefs at home, and obviously what happened with the Bengals last year, but having the Chiefs at home, if this is one of those games where, Mahomes does something crazy, ends up with the ball last and they win, Buffalo might burn down whether there's 8 feet of snow on the ground or not.
Especially being at home. 61% of the bets are on the Bills. A lot of people expect them to win. Mahomes 2-0 against the Bills in the playoffs. One, obviously, was the 11 seconds left?
Yeah. 13?
Field goal.
13.
Yeah, was it 13 seconds? Was that the?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think it was. Just 2 plays.
Because remember, that was being since 13 seconds or whatever it was. People have been chatting about potential change or whatever the case. It's like these two battle. In the Bills, I feel like they're at a point, team-wise, calloused, scarred, battle-tested through this year. People have written them off. They've not played their best football at times. Things have gotten a little bit ugly publicly, seemingly. We've taken it that way, even though behind the scenes it might not be. And now they're all kumbaya, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Huh? Here's church. Here's Staple. Mm-hmm. Look inside all the people.
Oh,
that's seemingly what the Bills are right now. All together, all going in the right direction. That feels good. What?
I mean, I agree.
Yeah, but you've been saying the Bills' window's dead for 3 years.
No, exactly. And I do feel like this year is different for Buffalo. But last year was all kumbaya too because the team came together. They had all that stuff going on. It was
tough.
Were
tired. They were tired.
And then on the sideline,
they were tuckered out.
Sure, but then on the sideline, when the Bengals are winning at home, we all remember what was going on. Like the vibes on the sideline were weird. The after the game making players stay because they were trying to just leave the building. Just hey, done with this. Like I agree, everything is kumbaya, but let's see what happens if they go down 21-10 because the situations on the sideline last year were a lot different once the game started.
We're going to be talking to All-Pro Poe in about 3 minutes.
His vibes have never been bad on the sideline. He's the last guy I would be talking about.
But I'm saying we'll ask him about that.
Yes.
We'll ask him about, like, hey, do you guys feel as if you were tight enough to withstand maybe a tough quarter or two here in a massive game.
Bingo.
Like, how tight do we feel? Because if things don't go like perfectly, are they going to potentially showcase what has happened in the past?
Exactly.
I hope not, because that's not good. We saw it with Dak and CD.
Yeah.
That was in like the first series.
First, second series, yeah.
Everybody's like, how is it? It's
exactly.
McCarthy had to go talk to CD on the bench like 4 minutes into the game.
How do we get the warm-ups? What happened? How do we get to this point already in the biggest game of the year?
That's a tight team.
Because, what's that?
That's a tight team.
Yeah, and McCarthy didn't have the same look he had on his face while he was
4 minutes in.
Well, I mean, the Packers had that first drive, but it would have been after their first offensive drive where I don't know if CD had a drop, but Dak missed him on one.
There was one
like
that he wasn't ready for.
Yeah, and he went back and immediately sat down on the bench, and Big Mike had to go over and sit down next to him and be like, hey, game's not over yet. There's 3 quarters left.
And that's probably not the first time something like that has happened, and there's probably been a lead up to this particular moment from behind the scenes perspective.
Sure.
And we don't know what the hell that was, but we didn't expect that from the Dallas Cowboys.
In the
that
playoffs.
team was,
at
home.
Juggernaut.
2 seed.
We're doing this entire thing. I think there's a chance we chat with Micah next week.
Oh, nice.
I think there's a chance.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know how much media he's going to be doing or signing up to do, but I think we're going to get a chance to chat with him. I'm pumped to hear his thoughts on why. Because I think that's our big question. And that's why Mike McCarthy was being questioned, which is why the Dallas Cowboys continue to get dragged, is because in the biggest moment, it seems like you guys have your worst games.
Sure.
Why? Why does that happen? Was it because the Packers are so damn good? Which might be.
Yeah.
That might be the case, is that the Packers are just a phenomenal football team, and how they were at the beginning or middle of the season is not who they are now. They were still trying to find their identity, so maybe they just ran into a really good team that they weren't necessarily completely ready for and had a bad day. Or maybe there's a chance that, we kind of lost our edge a little bit. Maybe we got a little bit too comfortable. Maybe we did do some things, and then next year, hopefully that'll tighten them up a little bit.
Yeah, and Micah specifically, people were killing him. Didn't get any sacks, didn't affect the game.
Yeah.
And then there are other clips coming out of him in the run game just being dominant. That's what.
He's Micah Parsons.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I'm excited to hear him talk too, because he's been getting dragged for no reason. There's 3 guys on him every snap.
LaFleur is.
Oh yeah.
Check 11.
Bingo.
Is what we were doing with everything. And now that comes with being Micah, though.
Right.
So,
for sure.
But we have to remember that whenever we look at his stats and everything, he's being treated as if he is, already 10-year vet who is the guy very early in his career. We got at least 4 arms and hands on Micah every single play.
Always.
And that is not normal for a guy this young. He is a phenom. So whenever people start talking out of pocket about him, this guy, isn't worth the hype or whatever, it's well, the other team thinks he is. Yeah, that's why they have 6 eyes, 4 hands, and quarterback always checking towards that particular guy. So, I'm excited to hear that. But the Cowboys collapse might just be because the Packers are so damn good, too.
Yeah, I don't know if they probably underestimated him a little bit, and also I think that's a massive indictment on the Cowboys and their defense when it's hey, if Micah doesn't go out there and have 3 sacks and a forced fumble and a bunch of tackles for loss, we have no chance to win. It's well, what do you expect this guy to have 47 sacks on the season? Sometimes, especially when you are that kind of player, Aaron Jones was in his grill chipping him on every single pass rush. They made it a point of emphasis. Hey, we're not going to let this guy beat us. We're going to have somebody else try to beat us, and no one else on the Cowboys defense can beat him.
So the interesting stat from Hembo here, the future market here for Dak, Micah, and CD, and they're all going to command top money. Top quarterback, Joe Burrow, $55 million average.
Whew.
Top edge rusher, Bosa, $34 million average. And wide receiver, obviously, Tyreek is at $30 million. So they got some shit to figure out as well.
But we could play slot or left tackle. Us 4 could probably afford that amount, right? Because that's what they'll have left over.
There was I can't remember which play it was, but going through the highlights or whatever, there was one of the touchdown plays for the Packers. Micah beat Zach Tom immediately off the line, but Aaron Jones picked him up immediately, and then there was the touchdown.
Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, is a man who probably has more answers than we could ever have, not only about football, but life as well.
Amen.
And music.
What?
Yes.
We've learned that this man is a musician. He's obviously incredibly handsome. He could be a model. But for the moment, he's just all-pro Poe, starting safety for the Buffalo Bills. Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Poyer.
What's up, boys? What's up? You guys good?
Yeah, how are you, man? Last week we made you wait for 10, 15 minutes like an asshole. Oh, yes.
Oh, good. We just had a bet. One of our players thought Mike actually thought you could make it to the other side of the fence in 30 seconds or less. And Jamarcus Ingram, he went over there and did it in exactly 29 seconds. So we were out here making a bet. A lot of guys made some money. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Okay, that's great news. I love whenever we're betting on other humans accomplishing things because that's not only motivating and inspiring, but potentially exposing as well whenever he doesn't make it in 30 seconds. The amount of shit talk that is raining down there. I appreciate that that's the vibes of the team. Let's start off there. Feels like you guys are feeling good, huh? Massive game this weekend. Vibes high with the Bills.
Yeah, exciting times, right? Home game, playoff game, divisional against the Chiefs, man. It's great times out here. We know the fans are excited. We're excited. Just another opportunity to go out there and play. Game that we probably had circled on our calendar for a long time. Want to get back and play another home playoff game at the crib. You want to be the best. You got to beat the best. So they're a good football team. We're a good football team. Good football team is gonna be fun, man. We're really excited.
Okay, so this year, obviously, and I don't know, you guys pay attention to this. Favored, money's on you guys. I think the national narrative is like, hey, this is the year where the Bills team does it against Patrick Mahomes. You guys hear that? And how do you respond to that type of information and type of chatter happening outside the building?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's the first time I've heard that. I think boys are really locked into what we got going on, inside the building. There's obviously a lot of talk, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, it's a huge game. But we're just enjoying the moments, man. This is what we play for. This is what we work for. These moments right here. So anything outside, just like I told y'all earlier, a lot of stuff was said early on in the season about our football team, but nothing affected us. Nothing. We just kept going and stuck together. And initially, we're here right now, and nothing's changed, man. We're just in the moment, enjoying it all, and gonna play a good football team on Sunday, and we're gonna be ready to play.
Do you guys think because of all of that, I guess a little deeper question, you know what I mean? Not ayahuasca deep.
No, that level.
Not meditation room deep.
No. Yeah.
Not hand pan deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
None of that, but it is a little deeper. Do you think your team's calloused because of all the shit that has happened over the last couple of years to your team? Like, I mean, if we were to go back the last 24 months of things that the Bills have had to deal with where other teams have not, like, do you think that is a benefit to your team just as somebody who is a deep thinker but also a member of the team over there?
Yeah, absolutely, right? I mean, every season presents its own challenges, its own adversities. Over the last couple of years, we have gone through, quite a bit of shit, dealing with everything from Lamar, the shooting in Buffalo to just a lot of stuff happening externally outside of this building that we not necessarily can control. But at the end of the day, we've stuck together, we've hung around, and we're 6-6 at the beginning of the year, and it does callous you for moments like these because we've been there before, and that's the same. So much transitions from life into football and vice versa. That's the same thing in life. We all go through things that initially make us stronger, make us better. And that's where we're at right now. We're just taking the moment and enjoying the moment for what it is. And we're gonna go out there and play a good football team. And we're a good football team on Sunday. And may the chips fall how they fall. But it's just enjoying the moment for what it is, man. We're really in it right now.
That's awesome. That is beautiful to hear. We've been hearing a lot of amazing things out of Buffalo the last couple of weeks. Hey, this Mitch Moore story he told us about David. I think his name David had a baby, and then there was. That's why. Hey, Buffalo is beautiful, man. I mean, how about Monday? How they came together on Monday for you guys? I mean, that was beautiful up there.
Crazy. It's they call it the city of good neighbors for a reason. I mean, it's just people out here are committed to helping each other, and it's a really cool community to be in. I know my neighbors were all out helping me shovel my driveway when I the other day on Monday, and I left my house Monday, and everybody was kind of outside shoveling and getting ready for the game, and everybody's waving to you good luck for the game. It's just super cool. It's super cool.
Yeah, it's like you're representing the neighborhood in the game. They're, hey, let's go, huh? Come on. Hey, come on now. We need one. Is there a lot of flamethrowers up there for the snow?
You would think there should be, right?
That might be your gift to the neighborhood. Be a good neighbor. Yeah. You know what I mean? Tone has a question for you, Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan, speaking of Monday, congrats on your stupid win, I guess, first and foremost. Secondly, I'm not sure if you saw earlier in the season, Travis Kelce caught a ball and then launched it about 30 yards in a lateral. And Kadarius Toney's caught it and scored, but it wasn't a touchdown because he was offsides. You guys preparing for that at all this weekend?
You got to prepare for everything, man. I mean, that was probably one of the greatest plays I've ever seen that didn't get counted.
Oh.
I mean, holy cow. It was, I mean, thank goodness it didn't, because that was pretty crazy. But I mean, you got to prepare for everything, man. We've played this team so many times over the past couple of years. They know us, we know them. There's going to be some wrinkles here and there, but ultimately it's going to come down to, really who makes the last play. There's going to be some punches made, them with us, and it's just going to be one of them classic games that really probably come down to the last play of the game. So, like I said, we're excited about the opportunity.
Hey, Con Man has a question for you, Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan, on that note, does knowing each other this well and playing them for, so many years, can that help or can that also hurt? Because you assume a lot of the tendencies that you've seen in the past, you guys will obviously be prepared for. But how much of those things are you also keeping in mind, like, hey, they might, have the similar calls, or they might, be in a formation that you've seen many times before, but they might completely flip the switch and change everything they do right at the, line of scrimmage or going into the game? Like, how much do you actually go back to those former games to see what they're doing versus, the recent weeks of this team, just so that you're kind of caught up on what they have done, obviously, and what they're doing, more recently?
Right. I mean, obviously you can go back and into the past games and see how they tried to attack the defense and see the big plays they got, the chunk plays they were able to get. And some of those plays they might come back to, some they might not. But also understanding, Andy Reid is a great coach, and Sean McDermott is a great coach. And they got really good players. We got really good players. And a lot of it is going to be playing, the game within the game. The first 15 plays, the game's going to flow a lot differently than, the middle of the game. So it's really – Patrick's going to be in there. He might hear a call and, might see something in the defense and might make a totally different call. It's just, the game within the game, whether it's your looks, your body language, just, being able to play physical, being able to just, play the game. And that's ultimately what Sean has done a good job, and ultimately what Coach Reid has done a good job is figuring out those adjustments within the game. And ultimately, like I said, it probably come down to whoever makes the last play of the game is going to end up winning.
Hey, Jordan. How's your body feel after that?
It was great, man.
Yeah?
It was great.
How's the meditation room? We've been in there all week, big winner.
I'm about to be in there at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock today. We got the sound bowls, me, Taylor Rapp, Will Greenberg, and Matt Milano. We got our sound bowls getting ready to go, and we do it every Friday at 2. So it's pretty cool. We actually started it like week 2. It was just me and Will at first, and then Taylor caught a little wave of it, and he kept coming back. And recently Matt Milano came in, and it's growing. It's growing. It's pretty cool.
Well, it seems like it's working, is what it sounds like. Did you do another one whenever they delayed the game a day, just so you kept on the same schedule?
Yeah, so, I mean, we do it every Friday. So it was, I think I talked to you guys last Friday, and we went in there after our interview, and we played the ball. Like I said, it's just a nice little reset for the guys. I mean, it's not, like I said, nothing mandatory, but some of the guys that want to come in there and get a nice little reset and get the mind, in a good place. It's that's exactly what it's for. Yeah. Got a lot of good compliments from our meditation last week. A lot of people were really excited about that we were able to do that on live TV. Even though it was for maybe like 10 or 15 seconds, a lot of people hit me up and said, "Hey, man, that was pretty cool. You got to do that."
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we should do another one.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
Let's go ahead and do another
We'll do it again?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it again.
For the good of the world, huh?
Good of the world, absolutely. Opens up your chakras.
You ruined it.
Sorry. Just letting you know what we're doing. You can't just be sitting here.
Well,
right.
I would like to know later what I was doing in a moment.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to the beginning. I'm opening up what now? Chakras?
Mm-hmm. Chakras, yes.
What are chakras?
We'll get into that. We'll get into your energy system.
Chakras, my mana?
Nah, there's different. You have a lot of chakras, but ultimately the 7 chakras, one at the bottom of your spine, and it goes all the way up to the top of your head, and certain noises like the Om, the Vam, it activates certain parts of the chakras.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's open
energy
a
systems.
Let's open a chakra. I need one. Been a long couple weeks.
Absolutely.
Is there one of you in there that can hum longer than the others? And you're like, stop showing off. Thank you for that. Tone's still in it. His chakras are locked.
Baby Tone.
He's locked into his chakras.
I forgot where I was.
Hey, that was beautiful. Last question here from Ty after that moment of zen.
Yeah, Jordan, obviously we understand the next man up mentality, but again, you guys lost a couple guys on defense last week. How much of an onus do you put on yourself, especially going up against a guy like Mahomes, like, hey, I really need to be the best version of myself today. Like, obviously you trust the other guys who are going to have to step up and be out there, but how much do you kind of put that on yourself that you need to potentially have the best game of your season on Sunday?
A lot, man. A lot. Being in the system for as long as we have, and then some new guys being able to step up and make huge plays for us. I put a lot on myself to be able to help us, get lined up and make sure that our back end is all on the same page and we're all playing the same defense ultimately. And just being able to alert guys certain things and being, like you said, being the best version of myself out there on the football field on Sunday night so that we can help our team ultimately win a football game. And so I do put, it's not pressure. I don't believe in pressure, but I do put a lot on myself, and Mike. I know Micah does to make sure that, and that's that's everybody. We take a lot of pride in being able to next man up mentality and go out there and execute the game plan that Sean gives us to a high standard and execute it to, like I said, the best version of ourselves. And we know if we do that, we're gonna be able to go out there, execute, and come out with a win.
Yeah, you earn the pressure, right? And it's all in how you view it. It's either opportunity to do something epic or not. Stefon Diggs just saw a video on the internet of you guys Bills practice. I mean, Diggs, we're having a good time, huh? The Bills dancing at practice is back. We haven't seen a lot of this.
Whoa, gritty.
Oh, we got a gritty from a big dude.
Yeah, boys is loose, man. This is what we play for. No pressure. Just go out there and play, man. Play free, and then that's all they get. That's all it is. It's exciting times out here in Buffalo. We're excited about it.
Hey, playoff checks are great too. You know what I mean? Keep getting them.
Taxes kill it though. The New York taxes kill
Yikes.
it.
Only team in New York. When you think about the whole taxes thing, because the Jets are in Jersey.
That place stinks, though.
So you guys get the New York. Well, Jersey taxes aren't great either. I think there's a lot of places.
Just the places.
But the tax that you're paying is for the opportunity to play in front of the Buffalonians, brother.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I play for free out there then.
How about Sal Capaccio? Tell us about Sal. Yeah, don't play for free. We would all strongly advise you not to risk the rest of your life being able to earn money doing anything else for $0. But Sal Capaccio, absolutely. We had him on the show last week. He put his microphone in the snow, almost broke the thing.
Watch
live.
this.
It was awesome. What a legend up there.
He's funny. He's awesome. He's a great dude.
All right. Well, good luck with your meditation. Good luck this weekend.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys.
Can't wait to watch. We appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. Jordan Poyer. Thank you. I got meditation 25 minutes.
Yeah, chakras are legit. I'm well versed in the chakra world. Not kidding. For shoot, brother.
Okay, so the chakras, this is an actual thing or?
Actual thing, yeah. There's 7 of them. It's like all the way down from your feet to your head, and like your head is connected and your feet are connected to the universe. It's a whole entire thing. I'll send you a photo. I have like each of them have their own stone.
So it's like my spine bone's connected to my chakra.
Yeah, kind of. It's more.
And then chakra is connected to my hip bone.
Yeah, like there's a heart chakra. There is a sex chakra. There's a brain chakra. There's like a. It's very, very. I'm just telling you. I
get it. I mean,
I know.
Get it.
I'm just saying.
Is the sex chakra the Kama Sutra?
I don't know if it's the Kama Sutra, but
so is this mana in different parts of my body?
So mana is if you were to put all the chakras together, that would kind of be mana. But your chakras can be closed.
I'm sure all the oozes are pumped to hear you describe what mana.
You can no.
Essentially,
in the chakra, in the chakra analogy, I'm not saying I know what mana is, but in this chakra comparison, like all of the chakras come together as one, not come together as one, but are inside of you, and you can close your chakras. So doing stuff like that is like reopening your chakras.
Okay, I'm happy we hummed our way into an opening of the chakras so that we can continue to have a feel-good Friday going into the weekend. That video you saw Stefon Diggs dancing and found and put up there, and then he said they're timing people running in the snow.
Yeah.
And then they're coming back. Like, the Bills' vibes are immaculate.
Pretty good vibes.
I will assume the Chiefs are the same, or what are we thinking? How many teams have those vibes right now?
Ravens, for sure.
I think the Packers have those vibes.
Texans got good vibes.
The Ravens, we saw yesterday, they were doing their top 5, putting together a starting 5 for a basketball team. 2-minute video actually ends with Lamar Jackson about to give his answer, some of his teammates like throwing something at him dodging it, and then making fun of them, and then jogging off, and then responding on Twitter after I was rudely cut off on this video. I think they have had, since preseason. Remember, I think there was a Kodak song that was performed by Zay Flowers in a team thing.
The rookie show.
And the whole place was going bananas.
Nuts.
It was the similar vibes to the Philadelphia Eagles night before NFC Championship game. Meek Mill, Dreams and Nightmares comes on, and the whole room, hold up, wait a minute, with everybody all in. Like, those are things that I look for, where it's like, all right, what team's going to show up? What team isn't going to show up? Feels like those are the ones that normally make time for each other.
Yeah, and shocking here, looking at divisional teams. Feels like they all got pretty good vibes right now. A lot of good vibes of these winning teams right now.
The only team you would think about is, like, have the Chiefs had the good vibes?
I think they got them back.
Last week we saw the Patrick Mahomes jog down on the fourth and whatever scamper, and then flex, and then Travis Kelce doing the same thing, as opposed to the frustration moments that we've seen on the sideline. Because those frustration moments are not like the CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott stuff. That's not just from that day. That's a buildup of all the things that are going wrong that have led to this. But here we are in 4th and 5, 10-7, second quarter, finish the run, throw the ball. It's -27, finish and flex for the entire. That's showtime Patrick Mahomes.
For sure.
That is a guy who's having a great time, a guy who's very confident, not only in himself, but in the team in which he's playing for, knowing that they're doing everything right, too. It's all paying off. It's like, that's what I see whenever I see that stuff. It was good to see the Chiefs back in that.
Oh, yeah, especially for a guy like Mahomes who, like, doesn't – I mean, he's had so much success, so you want – obviously, guys at his level, like – are self-motivated and can put a chip on your shoulder, but ever since he's come into the NFL, he's been the guy. He's the next guy. He's unbelievable. No one really saying anything. And then now all of a sudden with the Chiefs offense, granted, a lot of it's been about the wide receivers, but people are kind of starting to doubt Mahomes a little. Hey, this isn't the same guy. He's throwing more interceptions, kind of shitting on him a little bit. So for him to be able to kind of put those chips on his shoulder, like, oh, okay, you guys think I fell off. All right, sounds good.
Same thing happened to Josh middle of the season as well. Those are always nice things to find, especially for those high competitive human beings. We always refer to it, but the Utah dinner, Michael Jordan.
Bingo.
Coach walks in. That's all I needed to hear. And then just destroys him.
Yep.
He's already considered the greatest of all time at that point. Utah coach walks in, compliments how good he looks, says his suit is phenomenal. Thank you for coming to our city and doing everything you're doing. And Michael Jordan goes, son of a bitch, and just puts it on there. The things that are actually being said about Patrick Mahomes. And actually being said about Josh Allen publicly by a lot of parties, that can build up a lot of spite and a lot of motivation. And now we got him coming to a head here yet again in the playoffs.
It's going to be awesome. I'm so happy it's Sunday night. I'm so happy it's Tony on the call because he's going to be absolutely unbelievable.
So happy it's 6:30 on Sunday.
So happy it's 6:30.
Some people are not happy.
Really?
I think, I don't know.
Who?
Idiots.
I think the left coast maybe because
Still 3:30.
I can see that.
What's wrong with 3:30?
Yeah, but they got a 12 start. I think it's the time in which.
Well, they normally got a 9, so you know what, or a 10. So
I agree. Hey, I'm 100%.
I got a problem. I got a problem.
I'm on board with 6:30 bedtime 10.
Oh yeah, that's great.
That is
people complaining. Shut up. I'm sorry, but don't want to hear it at all. Guess what? Next week.
Open up your chakras, dude. Don't you have like an open mind chakra that you can open up?
It's open. And that's why I heard what you said. I've taken into consideration how those people on the left coast feel, and I'm telling them.
I don't know if it's just them. There's some East Coast people, too. I think Mad Dog was a little
What?
I think there was, I don't know. There were some people that were loudly
East Coast
not thrilled. But this is kind of, I think it's perfectly timed. And on Saturday being 4:30 and 8, it's like perfect.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? 4:38 is perfect. Leading up to 4:30, though.
It's tough.
Like last Sunday, whenever the game got moved, and we had to wait from whenever all the way to 4:30, but didn't have time to, because it just got moved the day before. So what are we going to do? We're just going to sit there, I guess?
Nice.
Unless you have a baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Amen.
Literally, if I did not have Mackenzie in Samantha at the house, that time would have been.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Got a good one, though, for Saturday. There's a 3.5-hour movie now. Leonardo DiCaprio. You just throw that son of a bitch on. See at 4.
What movie?
The Killers of the Flower Moon. It's out on Apple TV now.
I've seen it.
Oh, really?
You saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
Whole thing?
Oh, forgot about that. Yeah, you watched the whole thing.
I think I did. I did. Oh, I did.
I think you left about an hour early. So maybe you finish it.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, there it is. Oh, yeah. In my head, I put the movie together.
Hour early. I think you left an hour in.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Now, that is the thing about me. For those who don't know this particular program, in the off season, you'll obviously learn this a lot more. it's going to be tough to find me watching any movie pretty much.
Over
It's
90 minutes.
Just in general.
But you watched
a great one last night.
Yeah, it's really tough. My whole life, just ADD to it. Like, if it's not football or wrestling, you're not going to keep it. Or music videos. You know when music videos had to run?
Oh, yeah.
So, like, those are my attention span.
3.5 minutes. But
I didn't play video games, didn't watch a lot of movies. First Disney movie I saw wasn't until I was, like, very old. So, not a big movie watcher.
Yeah.
But I've tried to evolve as an adult, okay? Because my wife, obviously, it's a good date, great date.
Oh, yeah.
Go watch a movie, let's go ahead and do that. Normally, I'll enjoy going to the theaters. But these assholes putting out 3-hour movies as if this is normal now is just, it's uncalled for. I got to do a golf round to go watch a movie. Who has time, bro? Who has 3.5 hours to watch these? Just make them a series if you're going to do that.
Bingo.
Self-Reliance. 90 minutes on Hulu.
Yep.
Boom.
I watched it last night because the film Critic Talk over there
Real tick.
gave it a thumbs down yesterday after Jake Johnson comes on our program and says, like, yeah, I wrote this thing, starred in this thing, directed this thing.
What?
Very nice guy. Thankful for the time that he took. And we're like, hey, Talk, how do you feel about it? Terrible movie.
Thunk.
So I wasn't going to let Talk deter me.
He's an ass.
I was going to watch the movie because Jake Johnson took time out of to come on our program. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a good movie.
Why not?
Wasn't a bad movie.
No.
Am I going to watch it again? Am I going to go out of my way to watch it again? Probably not. But if it's on, will I watch it? Yes, I will.
There you go.
And worth the watch, I think. You know what I mean? Spent 90 minutes watching it, didn't go, wow, hated that. Why did I spend 90 minutes doing that? Which I do often with a lot of movies. Not that one. So shout out to Jake Johnson making a good movie.
Yeah, shout out.
We can't trust Talk anymore.
That's what I'm learning. That's
You
what
can't
I'm-
trust the guy whose favorite movie is Scooby-Doo, all right?
Well, it depends which one. No, you're right. Talk is a different animal. And
Well, he's an idiot.
what's that?
He's an idiot.
Why do you think that?
Because I know him.
That guy's won an Emmy.
He won an Emmy, and he's one of the hardest workers I know.
I didn't know that until he came into my house on Halloween and was like, is that girl pregnant? What's it take, like 6-7 months for pregnancy or something like
Oh, yeah.
that?
He did not know that there was a 9-month pregnancy, trimesters, anything like that. Talk is oblivious, but he's an incredible editor.
Amen.
So much so he's an Emmy Award winner.
Yes.
We're getting into the Emmy world now.
Yeah.
Now that we're on linear television.
Are we?
Yeah. Well, I'd like to let everybody know that I have refused for this show to be nominated
Hey,
for an Emmy.
hey, do you want your show to be nominated?
I do not. Please do not nominate
You
us.
sure? Do you want to
Please.
be nominated for anything? Just individual
Please
awards?
do not. I do not. Please. We do not deserve it. We do not want it. There are people that are like, they wake up
Yeah.
trying to get one of those.
Like Kirk Leewood.
Until we bingo. Dave Howard.
Boom.
You know, those, there are people, now that's not the case for those two, but that is a hilarious story about the Emmys things where only the people behind the camera won for studio show instead of the people that are on camera. I don't know how that potentially works, and which adds another question into how the whole Emmy process is. But there's people that are like dreaming and living and dying with getting those things. We had a chance to talk to Schrager after Good Morning Football won one, and it was the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're talking about like retiring, walking off into the sunset.
And we do not have that drive. So this particular show has said, please do not nominate us.
No.
We do not want to take somebody's spot who potentially would, and our show doesn't deserve one. And we wouldn't win one. And you're opening us up to get killed. Because whenever we get nominated, if we get nominated over some other show, we're just going to get absolutely slaughtered by everybody. But I think there's a chance that a couple other things that we've done this year might get recognized for an award.
Okay.
And if this
OCW?
dumbass group, OCW was not this year, if OCW will get brought back and will be put up for some awards.
Maybe a legacy award.
We will put it up there. But if this dumbass group wins an award for something on TV, this will go down as the dumbest year of all time. And everybody's expecting this relationship to potentially end with ESPN. There's a lot of that chatter. I saw the Daily Wire wrote an article about, will they last a year with ESPN?
Saw that too.
It's like, I think we will. Feels like the people at ESPN do want us to succeed. Now there is, and we would like to succeed on ESPN. The reason why we came is because we loved everything that ESPN had done for us growing up. You literally only watched ESPN. It was like I just told you, sports, football more specifically, but sports and WWE was basically all I watched as a kid. So getting an opportunity to join this with all the rights that they have, with all the access they have, with the history that ESPN has, with how big a sports stories in general ESPN has, it was an honor and excited to get there. Now, there has been over the last 2 weeks some rocky roads.
As there always will be.
But in the fact that we're still here.
That's life.
Like,
yeah, I don't know if we should be taking a victory lap because, some of these things do take a while to take place.
For sure.
Bureaucracy of massive building operations. But the people that we have talked to say, hey, listen, obviously none of us love that this happened, but we forged a river. We continue to move on. And I think as the years go and as the weeks go by, I'm only getting more excited about what's possible because we're starting to play in the off season now.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I think we're going to be down at the Players Championship live on the course.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think we're going to be able to do, like all the ESPN events that take place, we have a chance to potentially be live from. Now, we will have to find a business to sponsor that.
Sure.
Okay, because of other things we are learning.
We're not going to have to go to Detroit, are we?
For the draft, we get to go to Detroit.
Hell yeah.
And also for ticketed shows, we haven't done ticketed shows since COVID. So we just have not. Because to do that, we have to rent a theater and figure out the tickets and do that whole thing. And to be honest, we could do it, but it takes a lot of time. And we've been so focused on making an average show here, that we decided to kind of put that on hold. Detroit's the first one that we have to do because I owe the city of Detroit for a bet that we made last year. So that might be around the draft time.
Yeah.
We'll probably go up there during draft time. We're donating the money, obviously, to the tickets, and then we get the chance to do the draft in Detroit. And that could be the brand new Lions Super Bowl winning draft host up there in Detroit. Could you imagine, Foxy, if that's what it was up there?
No, I actually can't. Our draft show usually is one of our best shows of the year, and it being in Detroit. And everyone's told us, Calvin Johnson came on this show, and he said, hey, he said it. I'm not saying it, but he said, white people are walking around downtown Detroit. The city's amazing now. So
that's what Calvin Johnson said.
That's what Calvin Johnson said.
Foxy. You're an idiot, Foxy. Can't be quoting Calvin Johnson, who's a Detroit legend like that.
Get him out.
Detroit is in a magical place, and Detroit is the host of the second most expensive divisional round ticket in the history of divisional rounds by SeatGeek, and that's not the only game. Hey. Let's have a divisional round weekend.
Hell yeah.
As our 2 hours wind to an end here on ESPN and we transition into YouTube and ESPN Plus, still live on TikTok Live, we should take the tractor another round on the 4 games that we'll be able to watch, 2 tomorrow, 2 on Sunday. Houston Texans, a beautiful story of a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback traveling into Baltimore to take on Ronnie, the Baltimore Ravens fan base, Lamar Jackson, Monken, Harbaugh, and a culture that has been built over decades that is seemingly more dominant than it's ever been. One is hoping to become the other, but could they upset that particular team in front of their home? Only a little bit of wind, not a lot of everything else.
A good amount of wind.
30-mile-an-hour gusts?
Like 20, yeah. But other than that, we're good as far as precipitation.
30-mile-an-hour wind gusts is huge.
Yeah.
But if the gusts are once every 10 minutes, not that big of a deal. Because all you need for a play is 7-8 seconds. There is a time, and I've been a human, obviously, that has done a cadence for a kick that matters about wind, where you'll go out and there'll be 20 seconds left on the play clock, and it is howling wind. Well, we're going to wait to see. We're going to see if this wind's got stamina. We're going to see if this wind has endurance. And then lo and behold, by about 5 seconds, that gust is gone. You're able to do it. Offenses shouldn't be that devastated by gusts that aren't very common. But if it's one of those days where it's just
swirling wind,
pounding gusts, you would think that would favor the Baltimore Ravens pretty heavily.
The official, yes, it would. The official is kickoff 27 degrees, 1% chance of rain, snow, and 15-mile-an-hour winds.
Okay, that ain't bad. C.J. Stroud's dealt with worse at the Horseshoe in Ohio.
Exactly.
He'll be able to put the ball wherever he wants it. The dude's a baller.
How often does the wind change? So, like for Kaimi Fairbairn, he kicks indoors last week. He goes out there, first quarter winds different than third quarter winds, or is it typically like a tunnel and they're always the same?
It will change. I mean, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Literally. Because we have a dome. I used to practice outside the whole time.
Sure.
And then you deal with the wind and you think you have it figured out. And then all of a sudden you go in at halftime and then it's like completely different.
Okay.
But also one thing you can't judge, and I think we've talked about this before, they always show like the flags on the uprights. That matters for like at the uprights. Because with the way stadiums are normally built with where the uprights are, the wind where the uprights are is going to be different than where it is 15, 20 yards into the field. And if the stadiums are built in a symmetrical fashion, okay, where it is, Where the wind is up top, it is the opposite on the bottom.
Ugh.
So, the jet stream up top is vastly different than what you're feeling at the bottom for punters. For kickers, they have to deal with the same exact stuff. Just a little wind energy that C.J. Stroud has already figured out.
That's right.
He was at Ohio State.
Exactly.
He knows the deal. And then you power through those other games that we have left. On Saturday night, the Green Bay Packers take on the San Francisco 49ers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers travel to take on the Detroit Football Lions. The Kansas City Chiefs will finish out this divisional round weekend, traveling up to Western New York to take on the Buffalo Bills, where vibes are immaculate. The divisional weekend should be phenomenal. We'll be back here on Overreaction Monday, breaking it all down. What teams are left?
Whoa.
Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Who's going to be calling for wholesale changes?
Uh-oh.
That's Overreaction Monday in a nutshell. We got a big one because we'll be down to the Final Four whenever we see you next on this glorious platform. Remember, be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. That's for real. You see somebody, you don't know what they're going through. Just give them a little bit of a compliment. And also, we're all in this thing together. Have a great weekend. Goodbye. Boys, we did it.
Nice.
Nailed it.
Boys, we did it. All right, that's good shit. AJ Hawk wasn't able to connect the entire time. He said he'll be taking all 4 underdogs.
Okay, just like Chuck.
Just like Chuck Pagano. He said, give me the Houston Texans plus 9.5. Give me the Green Bay Packers plus 9.5. He said, give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus 6.5. And give me the Kansas City Chiefs plus 3. AJ obviously has no service. We should try to call his cell phone. We should call his, just so we get a little bit of a breakdown on why he picked all 4 underdogs. Because, 9.5 seems like a lot until you hear Lombo talk about what he thinks the Niners are potentially going to do to the Packers and why that's going to happen. And then we look back to this past weekend, 5 out of the 6 games, more than that.
Yeah.
And pretty easy to get to that. Pretty easy to get to 10, nowadays with the way football is. But that old backdoor cover is all we got a chance to get you.
Yes, it.
Whenever you're talking about 9.5 point spreads, 10-point spreads, that means the entire game you're just sitting there like, is Mason Rudolph about to connect 2 passes and get this motherfucker covered when this has obviously been a blowout? Which certainly almost happened on Monday in Buffalo. How about whenever you got people on the sidelines resting, then they got to get back in the game maybe to go ahead and close this thing out because teams can get hot. The way the modern NFL offense is, it can change at any given moment. So whenever you're taking the minus 9.5,
scary number,
or the minus 10s, it's anxiety for 4 straight quarters gone, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree. It's one of those things where you go into it like, man, I don't know. The Niners and the Ravens haven't played for 3 weeks. They took that week 18 off, but there is the other side of it where, on Monday, do we want to be the people that say, hey, we forgot how good the Ravens and the Niners were? And I'm not saying I'm taking both 9.5 point spreads. I'm just saying it feels like every year this happens with the 1 seeds where we don't see them for a couple weeks because they are the 1 seed, and then they come out in the divisional, and it's, we forgot these are 2 of the best teams in the NFL by a lot.
The teams that are coming off of a bye in the playoffs are 32, 41, and 1 against the spread.
Okay. Good for the Dogs.
Great for the Dogs.
What have the last 5 years been?
That's a good question that I don't know.
Come on, Tone.
Wake up, Tony.
Tony!
It's a feel-good Friday. Good Lord.
Hashtag stat that for us.
Yeah.
Fuck. Come on. Haven't done a lot of hashtag stat that this year.
No. Not as much.
They kind of shit-canned that whole deal.
Yeah, why? I thought that was good.
So did I.
It's awesome.
Stats are dead.
The stat that this year would have been pretty diabolical, I think.
Why is that?
Just a lot of stuff going on, like all the backup QBs, like the amount of different stats we could have done.
This is the first time a 6-string quarterback has led a team to more than 127 yards passing, 14 yards rushing, and 2 touchdowns in the history of the NFL. Hashtag stat that.
Flacco, are you kidding me? This is the first time a 30-year-old guy who played for a division rival, who won a Super Bowl with a division rival, who has an 8-foot schlong, has finally come back to save the Cleveland Browns.
Hashtag stat that. Yeah, those are stat that will reign supreme next year, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm happy to put that one on the back burner. Joining us now is a man who has no internet, I guess, so this should be spotty, AJ Hawk.
Yeah, Hawker!
Whoa.
Jeez Louise.
My God, are you
Steve Jobs
in the building?
Oh, my God.
What happened? What's it look like?
Phenomenal.
Amazing.
You got a little blurry books behind you, real spotlight on the face. You could have joined the whole show.
I tell you what, I've been trying. I've been on the phone with Zeke trying to figure things out. Yeah, this is not ideal, but at least I got to connect at some point.
This is kind of ideal, actually. I mean,
you look incredible.
Yeah, you look really good.
Oh, shocking. Oh, you mean this camera is much better than the one that they set up for me? That's crazy.
gonna guess that.
AJ, AJ,
so mad.
You're not happy? Okay, listen.
Well, no, I mean, the internet was great. It was working great. I was out plowing snow today, pulled my kids around the tubes, everything out in the yard, and I come back to do the show, and the internet's down the whole house, and it's still out.
Well, we appreciate you battling through. You look good. You sound good.
It's your neighbor's fault.
You look good. You
We won't
sound
get
good.
into that.
Yeah, you could talk to your neighbors a little bit. Maybe be a little bit friendlier. Maybe see if he's in. Never mind. We're not getting into that this week. We're not getting into that this week.
Start that.
AJ, you're taking all 4 dogs, just like Chuck Pagano. Tell me why. Let's go ahead and dive into some of these and see why you're thinking what you're thinking. You don't think the Houston Texans can keep it within 9.5 of? I'm sorry. You don't think the Baltimore Ravens can pull away from the Houston Texans and make this 10-point or more off a couple weeks rest?
No, I mean, I think the Ravens obviously can. I just think 9.5 feels like a lot of points. I know the weather's not going to be terrible, but it's still going to be a cold game, I'm guessing. Maybe a little bit of wind. So I just think the Texans are pretty legit. And I think even if the Ravens pull away, I think the Texans can do enough to at least get it to within 9.5.
All right, give me the Texans as well in that particular game. Let's go to Saturday night action. Green Bay Packers traveling to Santa Clara, California to take on the number 1 seed San Francisco 49ers. Remember, the Niners are very good, but the Packers, phenomenal last weekend. Is that a sign of what they are and who they are, or was that a one-off? We shall see at 8:15 tomorrow night on Fox. AJ, who do you like? You like Green Bay.
Yeah, I like Green Bay plus 9.5. Again, I just think this is a lot of points. And yeah, we all know the Niners can roll and they can end up winning by 17. We never know. But I just feel like the Packers have something going. They got something going right now. And the Niners will have to see. Obviously, off a little bit of a break with the bye. They should be healthy, but who knows if they have a little bit of rust early.
Lombo liked the over there of 50.5. So do you like that as well, or are you not diving into that game?
I mean, I do like that. Yeah, think about it. Like, this is the one game, well, I guess the indoor game, obviously, in Detroit, but this game in San Fran, the weather's going to be beautiful, I would imagine. So I think those Green Bay players are going to get off the plane. They're going to be like, man, this is it. We love this kind of weather. We can handle this.
It's like you're on vacation. The body feels a little bit good. You know, you got a little lather a lot quicker than it does back at Green Bay, even if you're inside, because the weather in the air is so dry. Give me the Niners minus 9.5.
Ooh.
I love the Packers, though.
Why do you do it? How much you think they win by?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. It could be 24.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Could be.
Like, this is the healthiest.
Bosa, every time he does an interview, I just remind myself, like, Bosa hasn't even really, like,
he's the best.
Gone bananas yet this year.
No.
You know? He's had a couple massive games, but has not gone absolutely apeshit. Divisional round, home game, prime time, like, they got names all over that team. Not that the Packers don't. The Packers have names, I think, of the next 10 years on that team. But I think this is one of those games we'll look back at for the Packers where we go, you remember they lost to the Niners? They carried that into the offseason. They got even better. Like the Packers, this young team. But I just think the Niners year. I think it's the Niners year. I think they've been on a mission, and I think they play very, very good. So I think 10 could be. I think they could win by 10. Yeah, I think they could win by 10. What are you going to say?
I was going to say also, like, Nick Bosa, Chase Young got a taste of the playoffs with Heineke, but, like, he went through the shitter, finally back in, like, real meaningful football after coming from Ohio State, too. So he's probably been waiting for a big game like that for, I mean, legitimately years. And, like, Ty brought it up. There is a real chance where Christian McAffrey runs for 175 yards. Like, that isn't like a, hey, this could happen. That's like a very realistic
That worries
thing.
me. That definitely worries me. I would imagine Ty is a little bit worried. Let's see early. If Green Bay can shut the run game down early, hopefully San Fran can go away from it.
Christian McCaffrey's total is 89, over under 89.5.
Oh, so we're taking the over there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But they use him in a screen game a lot.
Yeah.
So it takes away from the rushing.
What about total yardage? Is there a total yardage for Christian McCaffrey?
There definitely is.
Yeah, they've been doing that with Lamar. I think Lamar's is like 265, so I'm assuming Christian McCaffrey's is probably something along, probably like 125, 130, probably.
I'll get you over
there.
Oh, yeah. No, I do think the Packers can win. I think if they get beat, though, I think they will not necessarily get blown out, but get beat by 17. Because if they get down, they're gonna have to press, and I feel like that's when, like, their line has played really well, but last week it was basically just like, hey, you got to stop Micah Parsons. Now you got 3-4 rushers who are very, very good. And if they get down 14 points or something like that, I think that's where you could see Love taking some more chances and committing a couple turnovers.
With that, love the Packers. Packers should be incredibly pumped.
Yeah,
no matter
on
what.
the up and up.
Yeah, I am incredibly pumped about the Packers and their future. But I just think this is the year for the Niners. Obviously, there's only 8 teams left. Everybody's good. Let's go to the Buccaneers, Detroit Lions. Foxy will be in attendance.
Hell yeah.
Second most expensive ticket in the history of the divisional round, says SeatGeek. It's going to be a loud stadium up there at Ford Field. Now, they do have a roof on the place. They just put it in.
Yep.
They have made it a dome this week, I believe,
Yes.
is what is taking place. So there'll be no weather situations on the field, but getting into the stadium, it might be a bit breezy and cold.
Yes.
For a lot of folks. Bucks getting 6.5. You like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus 6.5, AJ?
Yeah, I do. This one kind of scares me a little bit, especially listening to Lombo. What did he say? Baker's going to have to throw 40-plus times and be perfect. That worried me a little bit, but I don't know. Bake's got something special going right now. Hopefully they can get out to a hot start.
I do think Bake has something special going on. I love it. I think Todd Bowles is a mastermind, big genius. Love that AQ Shipley broke that down the other day. Give me the brand new Lions.
Let's go.
That place is going to be like a lion's den.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. True home field
Yeah,
advantage.
it's going to be one of those ones where, what was that, Grizzly Man?
Oh, yeah.
Grizzly Man made a living out of being dangerously close to grizzly bears.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he walked into one of their caves one night, and one of the grizzly bears didn't know that this particular human was on the up and up, and just fucking ate him.
Yeah, killed him.
Just absolutely killed him.
Rest in peace,
This is what you're walking into, I think, with the way Ford Field has been from what we saw last week and the amount of money these tickets are this week. Did they price out the rowdiness, or did they price in an obligation to be rowdy? That is the question that we will find out.
Yeah, and last week the Rams had to use 2 timeouts because it was so loud, and at the end of the game it helped us ice it out. So that was huge. Like, the fans actually helped us win that game.
And do we know if Eminem is leading into Kid Rock, which is leading into Jack White, which is leading into Big Sean?
No, yeah, I don't know, but that's a stipulation AJ should think about, because if Tim Robinson is on 2 motorcycles rolling that team out,
whoa,
yeah, I mean that is something.
Tim Allen's
where
driving a Mustang out.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But AJ immediately is going to say, "Oh, I didn't know that was going to happen. I wouldn't have taken
If I would have known there would have been 2 motorcycles with a house
in the middle. I would have taken the ball."
And it's giant. If Tim's wearing those giant baggy jeans, he wears one of those Jinkos that he wears when he goes to the Lions games.
No, I think he's just dressing comfortably.
Yeah.
I think he's just dressing comfortably. Tim Robinson is a fashion god, too.
Yeah. Amen.
About that. Now the game that'll cap off an incredible divisional weekend. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills. Chiefs getting 3. AJ, you're saying Patrick Mahomes in points in the playoffs? Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes, it's the Chiefs. And, yeah, it hasn't been the Chiefs that we have seen, the last couple of years, I guess. But I think last week we got a little bit of a glimpse. And I think they're going to be excited. I think Mahomes is going to be excited that people are questioning whether he can play on the road or not. I mean, come on, let's get real there. So, yeah, I think the Chiefs being dogs is the main reason I'm picking them.
I think this is a 1-point game.
Yep.
So for that, give me the Chiefs. I think the Bills win, though.
Ooh.
Oh,
Good
maybe
middle
the
there.
Chiefs.
It's so tough. I mean, it's going to feel like 70 for the Chiefs. They're going to be playing in like 20-degree weather, and they're going to feel
my
incredible.
God, this is 45 degrees warmer.
Yeah. I mean, we experienced it this week. Like, it was 5 degrees the first couple of days. On Wednesday, it was 25, and it felt like 60.
There's our picks. Breland went 5 of 6 last weekend.
Yep.
The only one he missed was his home team. Here's his divisional round choices.
My wild card predictions went 5 for 6.
Yup.
And my team's the only one I would miss.
Damn.
So I'm coming week 2 with some unbiased
Picks.
Without further ado, let me provide the script.
Bars.
Houston is falling short in Baltimore, but CJ will put some points on the board.
Okay, got it.
The Ravens
He's a lefty.
running backs are running back and forth, and Lamar will find a way to get the final score. Hey.
Close one, he
Then
said.
the Niners taking on the Packers. I'd
good.
love to think that Jordan might just be the better passer, but Brock is pretty good at reading and exploiting matchups. I got a Shannon handed to the team that's got McAfrey.
Damn.
Lions winning, it's a matter of pride. I know Baker may feel like he has finally arrived, but I'ma take him on raw for a a $1.25 and keep that Campbell's chicken noodle Super Bowl hopes alive. Hey, the Bills winning, but they're keeping it close. And we finally get to see Mahomes on the road. Up and down, but Stefano dig him out the hole. Little big classic going, let the rivalry grow. Hey!
Kid's a fucking talent.
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff out of Breland.
Parlay him.
Well, right there, yeah. Yeah, he's been swinging a hot bat.
Yeah. Yes.
Writing with a hot pen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to a break. AJ, you going to join us on the other side like this or no?
Yeah, I can come back like this. I'll check to see if my internet's back. I'm sure it's not, but I can come back like this.
Looks like you're thrilled about it.
No, I'm good. I'm just trying to see things. You know, a lot of it's cut off, too, on my screen, so I'm just trying to see what we got going on. But no, this is fine.
Okay, well, there's a weekly wrap-up with Rap Sheet and Friends coming on the other side, AJ.
You want me to come on with Rap Sheet?
I want you to...
Come on, Rap Sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he loves smoking meat, so I guess it goes hand in hand.
Well, actually, hand in on.
Hand
on meat.
Yeah.
Anyways, you got that on. Everybody needs to relax, dude.
Jeez.
What's wrong with our show?
We had it in the last hour, too.
We're almost gone.
Coming left, coming right.
Yeah, we're almost to the break. Anyways, we got Rap Sheet on the other side. He has different connections with different things.
He does.
We'll wrap up the week that was. We'll send us into the weekend that we'll have, and hopefully the vibes will be immaculate. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice might change your life. Take 5.
Hello, world. Welcome back from Wild Card Weekend of another episode of Undercover Dog.
He's an undercover dog. He's an undercover dog for sure.
My first undercover dog is Christian Harris. He had 8 tackles, 1 sack.
You just hang right there and just play the quarterback. Play the quarterback. As soon as he snap, step in front of it, go pick. Yes, sir. Telling you.
And 1 pick, 36-yard INT to the house, a perfectly timed ball he got from Flacco. My second undercover dog is Zach Tom. He held Michael Parsons to zero pressure out of 9 times this week. He has the lowest quarterback pressure rating at 5.5. He leads the NFL. My third undercover dog is Rashid Rice. Led the teams in target this week, yards and catches. He had 8 catches, 130 yards. He seems to be the #1 over there in KC. Patrick Mahomes have needed this guy. Check out this play right here on this touchdown catch. Now we're going into the divisional dogs. Help me this week. Hashtag undercover dogs. And let's figure out if we can find some undercover dogs this week.
Let me tell you a little story about these statistics. Troy Polamalu, okay? Fucking Troy Polamalu. So we had a fake for the Pittsburgh Steelers that was a 100%er. We didn't even have a cancel the goddamn play because it was a 100%er. If we ever end up in this situation, inside the 7-yard line on the left hash, it is a 100%er that the C gap will be wide open and we will just part the C to the left. It'll be a touchdown. 100%er. We're playing in Pittsburgh, the city I grew up in. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I won the punt, pass, and kick national championship, AJ. National championship, AJ.
Congrats.
AJ, did you ever win the national championship, punt, pass, and kick?
I think I got 3rd or 4th out of 4 at the Nationals.
I'm proud of you, man. Anyways, so we're there in that stadium, okay? A lot of McAfee's in there. A lot of McAfee's in Pittsburgh. I'm going to score my first fucking touchdown, night game, Sunday Night Football, I believe it was, right here, touchdown. We get into that situation, and I'm like, holy fuck, this is really going to happen. We're like on the 6 on the left hash. It's 4th and goal now. Field goal team's jogging on. I'm like, well, fuck, it's about to, I'm ready. I am ready for this to happen. So I get out there. I get down. Vinny's like happy for me. Vinny's like very excited. He's like, let's fucking go. Like Vinny's excited for me at this moment. I'm like, here we go. So I make the call. I forget what it was. So I start saying it, right? And everybody's looking at me like, okay, bright eyes. Here we go. Let's get after it. Offensive linemen are dead ass tired. They do not want to be in the middle of a field goal anyways. So they're just like, all right, I don't give a fuck if you die here, but this should work. Let's get some points. And all of a sudden, I go through my cadence, I call it, I get down, and Troy Polamalu's fucking ass goes ahead for however long his career was at this point. I think it was like 9 years or 8 years at this point.
Not a once has he ever gone to this side of the field over here to the left and stood right in the C gap. Never. He lined up exactly where he had lined in film 100% of the time. And then as soon as I got to like the second cadence right before set, he just bounced his little ass right over to the C gap. And I like stopped everything I was doing and I literally just looked at him. And I gave him like what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, why are you there right now? And then I stood up and said, we are kicking it. We have to kick it. We are kicking this. And then I get down, and Vinatieri kicks it, and I jog off the field, and Chuck Pagano comes running up next to me. He's like, hey, good job. What you see? I said, what did I see? Polamalu just fucking went right into the goddamn C gap. What did I see? What did I see? And he goes, okay, sounds good. Good call then. Good call then. And then Vinatieri's like, hey, way to go, buddy. I'm like, way to go? Are we not going to talk about how big of a fucking asshole Troy Polamalu is for what just happened right there? So that's.
I saw the angel of death waiting for me in the C gap.
It's unbelievable. What, you thought I was going to run him over? No way. He's probably going to strip me and score a touchdown the other fucking. That's Polamalu, bro. That ain't just your backyard football with your son. These are professional fucking athletes. He'd probably jump over the lineman, pick me up, and run me into the other fucking end zone if he wanted to. That's what he would have done.
The hard-hitting safety of his generation, too. I mean, Ed Reed, great cover safety. I don't know that you would have feared him, but
Ed Reed, I would have feared Ed Reed. Yeah, if I saw Ed Reed in that C gap, absolutely. E.D. Reed, boy, the best safety you ever seen, boy. I ain't doing shit to Ed Reed.
No, Ed Reed would have made the tackle. I'm saying that Polamalu would have shaved years off your life.
Oh, my God. Don't break the table, obviously.
I just break shit.
Sorry, man. Somebody came sprinting behind the barrier and tried to spear him.
I fucking dare somebody.
Oh, no!
I dare the next two.
Ass kicking.
What?
Saudi Arabia.
What?
Riyadh.
What?
Taking a jet plane.
What?
All the way there.
What?
All the way back.
What?
On the way back.
What?
WWE champion.
What?
Hey, you see?
Hell yeah!
Guys destroyed our shit.
Hey.
What?
Let's go.
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for. The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, you pig! Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Sport! Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Feel Good Friday, January 19th, 2024. Hour 3 of the program starts now. Football!
That boy, Hawk.
I love that, AJ. That's AJ Hawk, a man who's great at football. Football has a massive weekend this weekend. Two men that have massive weekends every weekend, one more so than the other this particular weekend. The Toxic Table at Boston Connor and Ty Schmidt. It's a big one, pal.
Hell yeah, let's go. Go Pack, go. ETC.
Gabe Morency, I do believe, is who you were impersonating there.
Yeah.
Are you going to have a couple whiskeys?
What? I will. I got my daughter pretty much all day, so, just kind of relax, enjoy myself, and then, about 7:10, 7:15, I'm going to hit the booze, and I'm going to hit it hard.
Yeah, and you're going to watch Jordan Love, who you love.
Exactly. I'm going to be filled with love, filled with booze, and hopefully by the end of the night be, just... Overwhelmed.
Emotion.
With emotions, with a Packers victory, and then we're going to start looking ahead to the NFC Championship game.
Which is right where the Packers are supposed to be.
Exactly.
Never a doubt that this wasn't where the Packers were going this year.
Never a doubt. Never a doubt. From about week 16 on, never a doubt.
Not one time. One half of the hammer died. Cowboys, Stefon Diggs. We all felt that way, didn't we, this year?
Yeah, I think we really did. Like, there was never any doubt in the Packers this year. We said from the very beginning that this is
a good decision.
Yep, this is who they were going to be. Even when they were 3-6.
Just like we said it would.
Yep. We said RELAX.
Joining us now, is a man who we always enjoy chit-chatting with.
Yeah.
Well,
And for the first time, long time, getting a chance to host a show that was sweeping the globe there for a bit.
Yeah.
It is time for the weekly wrap-up with Rap Sheet and Friends. Us being the friends, he being Rap Sheet. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Rapoport.
that boy Rap Sheet.
What's up? What's going on?
I got a chance to learn about your little setup there that you have, that you do all your hits from, and that is actually a nook in the entire basement. Actually has massive basement around the corner the other side. Incredible studio setup. We appreciate you joining us from there, Rapoport.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It is not quite our Thunderdome like your Thunderdome, but we have fun things. There's a video game that I absolutely murder my 9-year-old at.
Nice.
There's a lot of good things happening. Papa Shot, which I suck at. My wife kills me.
Really?
I know that surprised you. My wife literally murders me, and then if I ever win, she won't stop playing until she wins, and then she stops. So we got a lot going on down here.
Okay, well, I'm happy to hear that. And it is a little different than the Thunderdome. We have, I think it's like 35, 40-foot roof here.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, Ian Rapport, 5'10" basement roof. He took me through there.
Oh, okay.
On the phone this morning.
Nice.
I don't think standard size human can stand up down there, but that's a part of the greatness of the Rap Sheet basement,
Like
right?
the
Ian?
Shire.
And that kind of thing.
I mean, if it's me, fine. Like,
Perfect.
I'm good. I walk around like no issues. It's really great. Now, I have a couple friends who are like a little bit taller than me, maybe like 6'3" or 4", and I think some of them. There's a couple places where they gotta like duck a little bit.
Yeah.
But my main issue, I was explaining this morning, my main issue is I want to put a golf simulator down here, and my ceiling is 3 inches too short, so I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I might, like, dig a hole in the ground like the Bills have where they...
Well, you wouldn't do that, obviously. You would never pick up a shovel.
No, Leah.
Make your wife do it.
Well, I would have someone else do it, and then put me, so I'd be, like, below the ground. I could swing there, and then I would have my simulator.
Hey, we appreciate you being innovative.
Baby Rap.
All right, let's start talking a little bit here. This week had a lot happen. Obviously, Mike McCarthy staying, Mike Tomlin staying, Tepper in Carolina, they are interviewing one person.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Glenn, league circles that we're hearing, I'm excited to hear what you're thinking. Going to Titans, Harbaugh going to Chargers, AP going back to the Raiders, Bill Belichick's going to the Falcons. These are all things that are kind of alleged to be true. Did I just nail everything? Are you hearing the same stuff, or what do you think is the big focal point here on this Friday?
I would say, first of all, as far as the coaching cycle goes, this has like been a weird one because usually by this time of year, we've seen in-person interviews. And like if you're out in the first round of the playoffs, it's like, okay, well, you can interview in person. And then as long as you meet the NFL's DEI requirements, the Rooney Rule requirements, you can hire. This year's different because you can't interview anyone in person who works for an NFL team until the 22nd, which is Monday. So it slowed the process down, but I kind of weirdly think like you do in that I'm not saying any of these are done because absolutely nothing is done, but you could sort of feel like each different place has a little bit of a candidate with a lean, and I would probably agree with each of the things. Titans seems to be more open, but like I believe Aaron Glenn has a real shot at that. I think Harbaugh, if he decides to come to the NFL, real shot at the Chargers and would shake up that place in probably a good way. I think Belichick and the Falcons, who are meeting now, actually.
Breaking!
That's a second interview. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. So you could sort of feel things shaping up, even though it hasn't really reached the in-person part of the process yet for those who are employed.
Go ahead, AJ.
Ian, what's going to happen in Carolina? Is anyone going to get that gig with Tepper?
Nope.
Yes. Somebody will get
Is
that.
Tepper the head coach? Holy shit. That's awesome.
Tepper is not the head coach.
Yeah.
He is not the GM. They have maintained a little bit of a lower profile as it pertains to candidates. Like some teams announce it, and when they announce it, we all tweet about it, and that becomes a thing. Carolina's kind of going about it a little differently, so their search has been a little bit quieter. And, like, so I know what you're saying. It feels like everyone's like, well, who would take the Carolina job? To which I would say someone. These are impossible jobs to get. There's only 32 of them. There were times last year, when Bryce Young looked really good. It wasn't a lot because I don't think he was very well coached last year. But there were moments where you're like, I see why they picked him number one. And if let's say I'm a young offensive candidate, which, certainly that makes sense. That's the direction they go. You could say, instead of paying attention to the bad, I'm going to get the good, and I'm going to take a team that, is it a perfect situation? No. None of them are. Maybe if they have the quarterback that they thought they had when they drafted, that's a good spot. You definitely have to deal with some things, but I don't think it's a place people should be running away from.
Okay, but people are, right?
I don't know that they are. I just know that's the perception.
Okay, got it.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
the perception
like,
is why would you ever? Because right. And then the conversation goes into the next one of like, do they need somebody who is a, like a pretty dominating presence to go in there and joust with Tepper, because ownership potentially being involved as much as it has been has not led to success. If what we've heard is true about the Monday meetings and we need to hear this and I want this and kind of being a part of it, if that's true. We don't know if that's all true or not and how abnormal it would be and what those meetings are like. But is there a thought that maybe they need somebody in there who's like Vrabel, for instance? Like, is Vrabel a person that maybe is right for Carolina to maybe be able to right the ship? And would that be something Vrabel would want to do if it wasn't a hilariously priced thing, because he was fired from the Titans? I think he's getting paid.
Right. I mean, so yes, he was fired by the Titans. He is getting paid. Basically, what would happen in the NFL is the Panthers would have to pay what is essentially fair market value, and that would eat into what the Titans are paying. So if Vrabel was hired, the Titans would have to pay him less. Basically, they are rooting for Vrabel to get hired. Not that this is like a large sum of money for a $1 billion organization, but it is at least something. I would say what they are looking for as far as a head coach goes is someone to hold the players accountable. And I know that last year in Carolina, they didn't always think that, right? There were certain things that I think Tepper wanted and expected from a football coach and from an organization and from a football department and didn't get. So what I'm trying to figure out, and I think what candidates are trying to figure out is Tepper a meddling owner? I would say probably not. Did Tepper not see things coached to the standard that he wanted? Probably yes. And so there's a bunch of places where we thought owners were like meddling. Browns are a great example. Early on, everyone talked about Jimmy Haslam was hands-on. He wouldn't, he wanted his hands in every opportunity, whatever. And then they get the building right. They get a well-run place, and then you don't hear that anymore. So, like, I think, and obviously I know people there. I think that he just wants the place run right so he can go, okay, go.
Now, it is being told in my ear here that the Browns have fired some people on the offensive staff, like 6 people. So they got the building right. We're not hearing it, but now we got people getting fired on the offensive side of the ball whenever Joe Flacco.
Yes.
It's weird.
Not the owner telling Stefanski, we got to change this. No, that's not the case.
Not the case. I think what, the offense had some moments, and I think the fact that Joe Flacco had the amazing renaissance that he had that I love so much.
Good word.
I think everybody, Flacco's like the greatest guy, so I think everybody enjoyed this. It really felt like to me, I don't know how I say this. So Kevin Stefanski is the offensive play caller. What you sort of hope at some point is any play caller, and I know McVay has talked about this, Shanahan has talked about this, Mike McDaniel's talked about this. At some point, what you'd like to do is, all right, if I'm going to step back and kind of be the CEO, who will take over as the play caller? And it felt like to me, getting someone in there who could really see more of the vision of Kevin Stefanski, if they eventually became like that seemed to be what was kind of behind this. More so than like, all right, because Alex Van Pelt is good, and my guess is he's going to get an opportunity to be an offensive coordinator somewhere, just obviously not with the Browns.
Speaking of that, Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Rep Sheet, what about Cliff Kingsbury going to Chicago? Does that seem likely? And then also, if he doesn't get it, who are some of the other candidates they're thinking about bringing in? And also, just in general, like, who are some of the kind of up-and-coming hot OC names right now?
Okay, first, the Kingsbury part of this. I love every part of them interviewing Cliff Kingsbury. First of all, he made him fly out to L.A., which is such a baller move. Like, you want to talk to me? Come on. Like, I'll be here. If you'll be here, then we'll talk. I was joking today, but I'm actually not joking. Cliff Kingsbury has made so much money as a head coach and off the field. Like, I'm surprised he still wants to coach. I would be in, like, I know, but I would be in, like, Tahiti or something, or, like, I'd be on the golf course.
That's where he
somewhere.
goes.
He was in Tahiti.
Yeah, I think he was actually in Tahiti.
Yes, but why didn't he just stay and hang?
I think he got bored.
Football.
I think he's
ball.
He's ball guy. Even though he's incredibly handsome and all that stuff, I think he just is a football
People
guy.
do seem to say that, yes. So I like every part of this.
People with eyes.
Yeah.
Most
People who don't say it are
people
blind.
have vision. Yeah. Even one-eye people, I think,
Sure.
say it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't see the
I
whole
have nothing
picture,
against
but
people
I
who
get
have
it.
one eye. I treat people who have both eyes.
Smart.
We all do, by the way. We're all.
We don't see eyes.
Right.
Yeah, we don't see how
We're all on
many.
the same page there.
Three-eyed people, by the way, whatever.
Sure. Sure.
However many you need.
A bit.
That's the show. That's the program. People don't say that.
True.
Why don't you break that news one time? One fucking time, Rap. Why don't you break that this show does
I
not
thought you
care?
weren't allowed to say that.
Huh?
It's been a long time, Rap.
Rap, fuck off.
Just shut up.
Anyway, all right. I love every part of this interview because nobody knows more right now about Caleb Williams than Cliff Kingsbury. The Bears have a decision to make, a franchise-altering decision. So, yes, they get a look at a guy who I think would be a great offensive coordinator, and either with the Bears or with someone else, Cliff Kingsbury is very, very good at the football. But at the least, it is a awesome opportunity to scout a potential number one pick, to go out to LA, to find out everything you can about Caleb Williams. I think it is perfect whether you hire him or not. Some of the hot OC names, I would say Zach Robinson from the Rams.
Of course.
Would be really good. Dan Pitcher, who interviewed with the Saints. Joe Burrow's guy, just like super, super smart.
He's got.
Quinn Kubiak, who's with the 49ers, who I would imagine will get some more interviews if they lose, whether they may not lose.
That's Gary. That's Gary's kid?
That is one of. He's got two of them. He's got two of them in football. One's a scout, one's pass game coordinator. Shane Waldron, who's with the Seahawks, but who's allowed to interview. He's another. I mean, I imagine he would get hired as well. Like, there's some pretty good ones.
Oh, let's stay on the Kubiak. They call the similar system as their father.
Yeah, and actually, like a lot of the guys, maybe almost all the guys the Bears looked at run the same system. So, like, I think what they want to do, whether it's Fields or Caleb Williams or Drake May or whoever, it seems like they want to keep it in that system. Which, I mean, there's no hotter system in the NFL, so that makes sense.
So Joe Flacco in the Kubiak system is at his best. That's why the Stefanski situation worked out so well when he dropped in there. He had already played that offense for numerous years. So wherever this Kubiak goes, maybe that's where Joey Flack goes.
Bring in Flacco.
You know, alongside, maybe it's a little packaged ordeal out there. And Tone Diggs is saying, Pittsburgh, bring them both.
Maybe he just completes the AFC North run.
Could you imagine Joey Flack running out at Acrisure?
Oh,
Flackersure, dude.
So when Flacco was starting for the Browns, I was like, this is weird. He was a Raven, obviously. It's their rival. So I reached out to Ed Reed to be like, what do you think of Joe Flacco starting for the Browns? And I sort of thought it would be all this like trash talk. It wasn't. He was like, Flacco's a great guy. Like, I'm so happy for him. I think he could be a great leader. I think he could lead him to the playoffs. I'm just glad it's not the Steelers. And I was like, oh, like, that was some solid shade. But if it is the Steelers, I have to call my good friend.
Well,
Ed
you
Reed
said
back.
Baltimore and Cleveland are rivals. Obviously, you're saying that because the Cleveland team left Cleveland, went to Baltimore, became the Ravens.
Well, just like
but Pittsburgh
division
and Baltimore,
rival.
that
I mean,
was.
when the division, it's like collision after collision when the division, when they play in the division. But obviously, like, when it's Baltimore and Pittsburgh, that's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, you're talking about like schools letting kids out on Fridays to go to pep rallies downtown to bat a car that has Ravens on it. Like that's what
They still do that?
That's what it used to be like with Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
Yes.
I don't know if that's the Flacco era though.
Sure.
That's like during that whole
Flacco in 7.
Yeah, that whole time era. So if he was to potentially come to Pittsburgh, boy, let's stay in the coordinator's world before we move to something else. Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Rap Sheet, obviously you worked in New England for a long time. You got ties up there. You still live, right below New England. But right now, are there any requests in for the Patriots offensive coordinator? Obviously, it just happened last night, so maybe things are moving a little slower because there's still requests in special team coordinators, defensive coordinators. But on the offensive side of the ball, have you heard anything? And or is it one of those guys that you just mentioned will probably get a look?
So I would say I wouldn't be surprised if Zach Robinson ends up getting a look. But Nick Haley is a former Patriots. I think he was tight ends coach with the Patriots. He'd be another name to consider.
Is that Todd Haley?
Todd's son?
Kaylee.
I was about to say, Jesus. We got Kubiak's kid, got Todd's kid, Shanahan's kid.
If Haley does have a boy,
McVay.
Sign him up.
A lot of that going on in the media world as well. Oh, just starting now or since like 100 years ago? I mean, I guess since 100 years ago.
There you go.
Although I have to say, Ian Eagle's son did a fantastic job on the broadcast. I can't even joke about that.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Yes.
McDaniels.
So I would say Josh McDaniels makes a lot of sense to me. And what I don't know for absolute sure is would he go with Bill Belichick? Like, I know when the Raiders thing happened and he got fired, he moved back to New England. And staying with Mayo in that building, that makes sense because he wouldn't have to move his family and it's still the Patriots. If Belichick lands in Atlanta, would that be the one he would prefer? And I'm still trying to figure that out. I just know this. Like, people could say whatever about Josh McDaniel as a head coach, and my guess is it will all be true. Like, it didn't work out. It was 2 years less in each place. Was not good. He is one of the best offensive coordinators of the last couple decades. Whoever hires him will get a very, very good one.
With Tom Brady, now, is he able to adjust and adapt to the next quarterback? We shall see. I think he had success with Mac, though.
Had success with Mac.
Yeah, first year.
Had success with Mac. Made Mac look the absolute best that he's ever been.
Yeah, assuming there's hopefully the quarterback that we draft a little more different prototype than Mac and Brady, though.
He needs to go shake Chandler's hand. If I listen to the most recent song, they need to potentially make amends out there. AJ has a question for you, Rap.
Ian, why do these owners and GMs feel like they have to come out and defend themselves when they retain a coach now? Is that what we're going to be doing moving forward?
That fucking guy.
That was, yeah. I kind of wondered the same thing. Now, I like the idea of owners being accountable because, like, everyone else has to go out there and do a press conference. So the fact that the owner has to sit there and answer questions, like, I like it too. Like when the Broncos didn't fire anyone, didn't do anything, and the owner, Greg Penner, was still sitting there, I was like, you know what? This is good because at some point they're going to be there celebrating with everyone. They should also be there when it's not as good. I was, a little surprised Jerry Jones was not there for Mike McCarthy's, although he did release a statement. And whenever the Eagles decide what they decide, is it going to be a statement from Jeffrey Lurie? I think that will be interesting as well. So I don't know if this is like a trend, but I also think because of the way this atmosphere is, anybody who loses in the playoffs, everyone wants that person to be fired. And so at least I guess the owner stands there or sits there and gives an explanation for like, hey, sometimes continuity is a little bit better.
Is there any of that this weekend? Obviously it would be wild if it was to take place, but if the Packers going to Santa Clara, geez, good news?
I did not.
What they say, wow, you're back on McAfee Show. Crazy to see you. Is that what people said?
No, this was a coach who may or may not have just taken a job and is responding to my message.
Bill O'Brien, congratulations.
I'm not going to say who it was.
Congratulations, Bill.
It's Bill O'Brien. Tell him we say congrats and welcome back to the college world.
Love you, Bill.
If you could let him know that.
And thank you for his time in New England.
Again, it's not him. I'm just saying whoever it is, I will tell him right now.
Yeah, tell them that we said congrats. And there's been some things said, obviously, about him and the way he ran his Houston Texans program. We had to say it at the time. He was against the 8 ball. He had no shot anyway.
None.
And we're happy he's found happiness with Ryan Day, who allegedly, via our source, says he was in a steakhouse in Manhattan getting that deal done. Ryan Day.
Wow.
Allegedly.
Which one?
Our source.
Sparks, maybe?
Our source
Walensky
are saying.
Smith and Walensky.
Still
That's
don't
a
know.
good one.
Still don't know what he said, but
Smith
allegedly.
and Walensky. It's a classic state. It's a great place.
Of course. Fucking great meat.
It ain't the chop house.
Fucking great meat, that place.
Amen.
Smith and Lewinsky.
Yep. Monica.
Fucking phenomenal meat.
Yep.
I mean, it is.
Monica's place.
We had somebody though. We had somebody in the restaurant that we knew that I guess was saying, Ryan Day is in here and he's been on the phone for 2 hours. And then all of a sudden the announcement takes place. Bill O'Brien, it's like, was Ryan Day wheeling and dealing at a steakhouse getting a new OC? Fucking love the way this guy operates.
Yes.
Love everything about it. Desmond Howard said, well, there's the next head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes if anything was to go another way. I think Ryan Day delegating a little bit here, AJ, right? Ohio guy? That's good news.
I guess so. I mean, you would assume Bill O'Brien's going to be calling the offensive plays now, right?
Definitely.
Right, Rap?
You assume.
I would imagine. I mean, it's hard for me to say he's going there as an OC and then just is like the non-play. Yeah, I mean, I would think calling plays.
Yeah,
but
Bill O'Brien
it's
doesn't have to
interesting
take
for
a
me
job.
because, like, right, I mean, he's getting paid by the Patriots. He would have getting paid by the Patriots. Anyway, it's interesting to me that he went back to the college world because now he sort of puts himself in position to get a college head coaching job next year instead of the NFL. But I know he liked his time at Penn State a lot. even though it was very challenging.
And
So that makes
Bama.
sense, maybe.
And at Bama, when he was OC,
Did-
obviously. Massive success.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about how great it was.
Not the Bama fans, but
Well, the Bama fans right now are.
They win a national title. 2 years. They win national title.
Bill O'Brien, I think, is there was a stat that has not been confirmed yet, but we believe he is the only guy to ever coach for Nick Saban and Bill Belichick and not win a Super Bowl or a national championship.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I feel terrible
This
for him.
guy.
Heart breaks for the guy. It really does.
What? That's the worst stat ever.
Yeah, I know.
That's worse luck.
Heart breaks for him.
Feel good.
Jeez
Love Bill
Louise.
OB. A lot of New England fans saying, "Hey, sorry for coming. Sorry you had to come back to New England for a 4-13 season. Now you're moving
He
out
needs
again,
Ohio
too."
State.
He needs Ohio State. Yeah,
He needs Ohio State
Yeah.
going to run. All right, Bill, good luck out there. I'm happy you told him that for us. This weekend, though, if the Packers somehow knock off the San Francisco 49ers, Shanahan and Lynch are completely fine, right?
Oh yeah. I mean,
There won't be a full
completely.
overreaction the next day, right?
No, there will.
I'm sure there will be an overreaction, but I'm sure it will not have anything to do with Kyle Shanahan's job status.
Okay,
The
good.
Packers are kind of hot though.
Kinda, yeah. There's fucking 8 teams left, right?
Kinda.
There's only 8 teams left.
5
I mean,
straight.
the stats of Jordan Love over the last 5 or 6 games is like. I know we talked about
11 weeks, Rap.
This. Is that what it is?
Yes.
I know we talked about this for a while, trying to figure out if he's like a franchise guy, and you always wonder like, when are you going to know? Feels like we know.
Yeah.
And like this offseason in May, when they can start talking about a potential extension, like I would not be surprised if he gets paid like one of those dudes now too.
He's phenomenal to watch. And also, shout out to Guti putting his whole team together. You and I had a full conversation about it. It gets referenced a lot because I was like, do we know if he's a smart guy? It meant GM, but I said smart human. Obviously, he's a smart human. But I said a smart GM or not because we hadn't really got a chance to see his entire team. He inherited a lot of his team is fucking awesome. His team is, they got the right pieces in there. In LaFleur's offense, in LaFleur's leadership, seemingly all in, it's like, this is the team now for the foreseeable future. They got it right.
They got it right.
No matter what happens this weekend.
Well, yeah. I mean, defensive play caller, maybe we address that. But outside of that, yeah, got it right.
Anyways, speaking of this weekend, there's a lot online for a lot of folks. Tone has a question for you, Rap.
Yeah, Ian, at this point, it kind of feels like a given, but I'm not sure because the NFL is a weird place. Has Baker Mayfield earned another year in Tampa Bay next year? Is he going to get an actual contract? Is it going to be like a Geno Smith contract? How's it feel to you down in Tampa Bay?
Yeah, it feels to me like they want him back and he wants to be back. Now it's free agency, so like things can happen, but they also have the franchise tag, so theoretically could tag him and then do a deal, or could do a deal kind of around that number, which I think is in the low 30s, but I'm not positive right now, which is my brain is elsewhere. But it feels to me like they want him back and he wants to be back.
Where's your brain?
The coaching world takes me weird places. Like it's just it's all on head coaching candidates. Not I haven't made the transition from coaches to free agents. But yeah, I mean, I think Baker Mayfield. I remember this. We talked.
We got to lie about all these guys coming in the draft, how great they're all going to be.
Whoa. The guy who goes to New England is going to be great.
Of course.
Thank you.
Obviously. I remember we talked like 2 years ago, and I said Baker Mayfield was a top 15 quarterback, and then you made me name all of the ones better. And do you remember this? And it was really uncomfortable. I am back, baby, because he is playing really well.
He just
really
did something that Tom Brady's never done this past weekend. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks or something like that. For the Buccaneers, he did. He's the only one in Buccaneer history. And if you look back to, there's the meme going around the internet. Baker Mayfield was in practice squad special teams rushing punts. Whenever he was at the Carolina Panthers behind Sam Darnold and
Matt Corral.
Yeah, I think. In Carolina not too long ago. And then all of a sudden, it's like
could have been PJ Walker, maybe.
PJ Walker,
maybe.
Yeah,
but nonetheless, he's now leading his team into the highest average or second highest average ticket price game in divisional round history. That's Bucs Lions this week.
Really?
Yeah. 1,000.
Is that Lions fans?
I think so. I think it's just hard to get a seat. I think $1,131 average ticket price. Everybody wants to be in there. Obviously.
Bingo, exactly. Once in a lifetime. This has never happened. Divisional round has never happened. We've had actually wild card hadn't happened since like '91.
Yeah. So once in a lifetime, especially for Foxy and some of the olds thought there was a chance they're never going to see this again.
Yeah.
And they show up and they're loud. And that's great news.
Other Baker stat was the quarterback to have won playoff games with two or more teams, and it's like Brady, Manning, Montana,
Favre.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's balling. Absolutely balling. What's that deal look like? We talked about Flacco there. I know you haven't gotten to the free agents. Is it just like the standard 2-year, $40 million, $30 million guarantee? Like, how do those deals look for like Flacco and Baker if you were to project a little bit? These older guys are already hit.
So we'll talk Baker first. The Geno deal was what did it end up being?
3 for 110, I think.
Okay, and I think it was
Yeah, but when the way you guys report it's always fucking wrong. So
True.
we don't know what the deals actually are.
Yep.
You know, because you guys make up these fairy tale numbers that aren't real, and then all of a sudden 6 months later you go, no, that wasn't
It's 2 years, $48 million.
Virtually guaranteed.
Anyway, my guess is
guaranteed.
it's based around what the franchise tag is. So, you're probably talking low 30s here. And, like, Baker has, and it might be more, Baker has earned it. I mean, I think that's the cool thing. He has earned the right to be the starter. He has become what you sort of hope and believe that he would become. And the amount of people who are happy for him, like, comes up all the time. Just because he's been around a bunch of teams. He's met a lot of people. He's like a pretty personable dude. Like, everyone's happy for him. I think the Flacco deal feels more to me like, with all due respect to Joe Flacco, more of a backup/bridge deal.
What?
As opposed to the Baker. I know. But he's 38 years old.
He's gonna
I
kick
do
your
like the
ass.
fact that he.
Baker's only
I do like the fact that he wanted to sign a 1-year deal instead of a 2-year deal, just so because he knew this would happen, so he could maximize.
This has been
And
his
now-
thing. He
That was
bet
pretty
on
good.
himself with the Baltimore Ravens, went into the last year of his deal and won a Super Bowl, and then got 100-some million. Speaking of that, Geno's deal was 3 years, 75 with 40 million guaranteed.
Jeez.
So that was his deal. Nowhere near 110.
Well, sorry, I forgot. I thought Seattle was this big homegrown place, and I forgot they just ran their coach out of town. That place is different now. That's on me.
Jeez.
That's on me. That's on me. That's just in my head. I thought that they were what they used to be. They actually hate people who are there. That's on me. Sorry.
That is not true. I believe that.
Not the Geno part, but them running that Pete Carroll out of town is true.
That is crazy. Rap, what are your thoughts on that? Have we got your kind of punditry?
On the Pete Carroll?
Yeah, that's crazy. We didn't expect that. That
Yeah.
came out of nowhere, seemingly. Just like the Vrabel firing for us came out of nowhere. The Pete Carroll getting pushed out came out of nowhere. For most of us, not maybe in the left coast. I don't know. That was a blindside for me. I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah, see, the Vrabel thing, for me, didn't come out of nowhere, but just because in the building, he never kind of spoke or denied or kind of made all the Patriots rumors. He never stepped in and was like, this is nonsense. This is where I want to be. So I knew things were at least weird. I didn't know it would be like a couple-minute meeting with the owner and then he's fired. I thought there'd be more of a discussion, but like that's what it ended up being. The Seattle thing was a surprise to me. And I think the reason was, these coaching things are so, a lot of times, besides the fact that you basically just named every hiring earlier, they're hard to figure out because it's owners making the decision. And like Jody Allen doesn't necessarily talk to a lot of people or reporters or whoever. So I assumed, I think like a lot of people did, that Pete Carroll was going to stay. I didn't think they underachieved this year at all. I thought they achieved fine. Like they won 9 games.
They achieved.
They have talent. They were kind of up and down. Geno had some injuries. I thought they were
It wasn't
fine.
under, it wasn't over. It was just the word achieved.
Achieved. I thought they had achievement. Standard achievement.
They achieved. Sure. They achieved the shit out of the year.
In that division?
Yeah, regular achieve. She wanted more. And I think that was like a surreal press conference with Pete.
Yeah.
Because
he got kicked out of town, Rap. He was
But he
pissed.
even
And then they said, you got a podium to speak at.
He's still there.
Nah, I don't think that's going to last.
Not mentally.
I don't know if that's going to last. I don't know.
He said he competed to keep his job.
Yeah, and they made him an advisor role, but then he also said, I'm still coaching, I compete. Like,
yeah.
If there's another job opening, he would potentially go get. And maybe Pete Carroll has handled everything like perfectly since they literally showed him talking to our team whenever Frank Luntz, man, Frank Underwood came through there.
Sure.
Frank Lucas came through there.
Abagnale.
Frank Abagnale came through there. Frank
Geraldo.
Geraldo came through there.
Yep.
Frank Luntz was the name of this guy who's like a sociologist.
The pollster?
Yes, the pollster. He spoke to every team one year about how we're supposed to speak to the media. He wore these United States shoes and this whole thing. And he was talking to us as if we were running for president, obviously. But the one thing I do remember from that, other than the entire thing, is because it was wild. It was a wild time in there. It was a wild. AJ, you got the same thing. Wild.
I cannot.
I saw the whole thing. Yep.
It was wild.
Look at you now.
We all had the same reactions across the entire NFL, I think. Right, AJ?
Yep, I think it was pretty unanimous.
Anyways, one of the videos he showed was pretty much like, hey, and to you coaches that are speaking, here's how you need to speak. And it's Pete Carroll speaking. And they have these green arrow for like how the focus group felt about what every word that he said. Always green arrow, always green arrow, always green arrow. So it's like he's known to be the guy. Is that him right there telling you, I am looking for a head coaching job, you fucking prick? Is that what he's saying right there?
No. That was not necessarily Pete Carroll.
Okay.
Well, what necessarily was it?
Oh, it was about dinner plans tonight. I had some urgent message.
Oh, we know what's happening. Get the meats in my mouth in about 20 minutes. Get the meat. I will smoke them.
What?
Then I'll poke them. Then is that what's going on?
Not tonight. I will be instead of making things myself, I will be eating stuff that someone else serves me tonight.
Oh, okay.
What do you go? You deserve
We'll
it.
see if it.
Yeah, I'm
we'll see
sure
if
you
it's
make
good.
stuff all the time.
You deserve it, Rap. He is. He's on that Traeger or whatever.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, he's always on there smoking meats. Any news break tomorrow during these games? You know, because Jay Glazer will come out on a pregame show and drop something that he had heard.
Yep.
You will also do the same for that NFL game day.
Now we're talking.
We'll get some. You don't like Jay Glazer breaking news?
Wow. This guy hates Jay.
I love Jay Glazer.
Don't sound
I
like
wish
it.
he did break, but I really do love Jay Glazer.
I wish he didn't break news before me, but
I mean, yeah, right.
you need to respect your elders in this game.
Yeah.
Or they will break your arm.
When,
You better
when I
watch
ran
your mouth,
into
Rap
Glazer-
Sheet, or I'm going to beat the fuck out of you next time I see you. Super Bowl's not far away. Little man. Fucking crumple you up into a little cube.
And then what?
Toss you into the fucking the pond at the Bellagio.
And then what?
Then I'm going to fucking hit the sloth. Then I'm going to hit the tables. Okay? Then I'm going to go to the Sphere.
Okay.
Then maybe T-Mobile.
Okay.
Then I'll probably have like a nice dinner, a nice bottle of wine.
Where at?
With the Tennyson twins. I don't know. It depends.
Thank you, Jay.
The Hooters on the Strip is immaculate to die for.
Thank you, Jay.
There's also the NASCAR restaurant, which is really good.
Rainforest.
Is that the whole week, or what do you?
That no, that's Monday night. So put that on repeat. So Rap. Hope you got some. I don't know. You're gonna need slings, all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna break every fucking bone in your body if you keep running your mouth, pal.
He might. I ran into Glazer in L.A. when the Super Bowl was there a couple years ago, and it was at some I don't know. I forget honestly the place. So I wore a T-shirt and a sport coat because I was like, oh, let's see how this goes. So I run into Glazer, and he looks at me and he goes,
"It's my look.
What are you wearing?"
Oh.
And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Is this what you think people in L.A. wear?" And I was like,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he dunked on you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just sat there and I sort of waited for him to be like laugh, and he was like, "Yeah."
You got punked. You got bodied. That'll
Damn.
happen again. You keep running your mouth. But what's the next news to break? Because we obviously know Monday's a big day for the coaching hiring, right? We're all just assuming that's going to take place.
I would say that the teams that can hire now, the Raiders could. I mean, Antonio Pierce, is in good position. That hasn't happened yet. I would say, that's one that certainly could happen at some point if that's the direction they go.
You got a crick in your neck. What happened there? You just get a text. Are you waiting? You're waiting on something right now. What are you like?
Yeah.
What are you?
I'm always waiting on something.
No, not like this.
You're a little high. Unless this is the new you, you're a bit high strung on every single
This time of year is like this, though. It's like that's what this time of year is like. It's like it could literally happen, and you get the all right, go, and you're like, so.
It's 3 o'clock on a Friday. You need to drink.
Oh yeah, you're shaking.
True.
You still boozing pretty heavily?
What?
Are you?
Not heavily. How do you define heavily?
How you used to drink.
No.
Yes.
No.
You've backed off, huh?
No.
Look at you.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't believe
Mobile and the Combine are coming up. We'll see how we do.
How's the liver feel? You feel like you're ready for networking time when you're buying drinks for everybody, making you have to have drinks with everybody in the entire city, like Mobile,
It is
Alabama,
challenging.
Indianapolis, Indiana?
What?
How do you feel?
Yeah.
You feel like you're getting into your prime here? You're really warming up the liver or no?
I mean, the Super Bowl's coming up. I'll have to kind of ramp up in Vegas. It'll be like when you're getting ready for a marathon, you kind of you slowly build up. Then you do the 10-mile, and then you're like, all right, now I'm ready. That'll be the Super Bowl for me, kind of getting to that place.
Will you carb load before like it is a marathon situation? Like, will you just get completely wrecked one night just to be like, all right, we already got that in the bag. We got that. Or is that just every night?
Chicken Alfredo.
All right. All right, Rap, we appreciate you, pal. You said enough. You said enough. Are you on NFL Network show, Game Day?
Yes. Saturday and Sunday, baby. Let's go.
I like that show. They went for 4.5 hours on Sunday.
Gotta respect.
After going for, I think, 3.5 on Saturday.
Yep.
LA time, too. Very early. Shout out to that show. That's a great show, Ian.
Go. I appreciate it. I make a minor contribution to it. So hopefully my minor contribution is why everybody watches.
Well, I actually asked if you were on that show. That's how we got to this.
So the answer is no.
Yes. I'll wave to you. I'll be like this.
Nice.
Don't be an asshole.
It's a good show. Don't
respect
it. Please, we like it. Yeah. You're the man. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Rapoport. Thank you, buddy. It's great to see Rap again.
Yep.
All right, let's get the hell out of here. So, you got all the underdogs. I'm taking Niners, and I'm also taking...
You're taking Detroit as your other favorite, and then you have the other two dogs.
Let's go, boys.
Yes.
Here we go.
Let's go. Let's have a great weekend.
Come on.
Shout out to DoorDash, by the way. Right now, if you go, you can get Dash Pass for free.
Yeah, $0 delivery fees and reduced service fees on all eligible orders with a Dash Pass membership.
Shout out to DoorDash.
Hell yeah.
It's a great weekend, DoorDash. Weather's about to be shit.
Yes.
Yeah, terrible.
Very
A lot
cold.
of places.
Need it.
So DoorDash not existing. What do we do?
For during the winter?
What did we do before?
You just
What,
order from a-
what did anybody
Yeah.
do? What did anyone do?
Yeah, you order from a pizza
We
place.
race to the grocery stores and get as many eggs and bread and milk as we can.
Toilet paper.
No, you call your local
I don't know
Foxes.
if I did that. Yeah, it is pizza.
Yeah.
It's all,
You just you leaned on the hut and they were always there for you.
that is what I did.
Amen.
Down set pizza. Hut, hut,
Hut,
hut,
hut,
hut, hut, hut, hut. That is what I
Which
did.
you can get on DoorDash.
Pizza had it figured out long before everybody else.
Long.
They did.
Yeah, we needed delivery.
That and the Swans, man.
Yeah, because the people that are eating our food may be a little boozed up.
Right.
Maybe had a vitamin or two.
Right.
Maybe they're a little tired.
Right.
Does that mean they don't get to enjoy our food? No.
No.
We'll have a bunch of delivery guys just driving around with smoking weed the whole time.
Yeah.
Dropping pizzas off to people's houses.
Bingo.
And now DoorDash is like, let's make this a more professional outfit and available for everybody.
Exactly.
It's amazing. It is amazing, AJ. I every time we talk about it, it's hard not to get into a full 20, 30-minute thing about, like, it's absurd how often I use DoorDash. But you can even get your fucking groceries through. Everything is through there.
Everything. What are you talking about? I ordered my son a mouthpiece for lacrosse a couple days ago from Dick's Sporting Goods.
Playing lax already.
How are we?
Why is he wearing a mouthpiece?
Exactly. That was my question. But it's a dumb rule they have.
Yeah, you get a penalty, actually.
AJ's, they say, hey, he needs a mouthpiece. No, he doesn't actually. Don't need it at all. Well,
They're wearing a mask too. They have a full mask. So I'm like, what are we doing?
Don't want him to bite his tongue off.
Okay.
They use the Jawser size, so they're not going to do that.
No, you got to chew gum. You got to chew gum, man. That's what keeps it.
I saw Axel, right? Is that who I talked to?
Yeah, you talked to little Axel. Actually, there's a little video I have of you were about to talk to little Axel, and you dapped up my dude, my 10-year-old. You guys got a nice little clean dap. He was actually very excited about that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, right before I picked up Axel. Yes, I do remember that. Kids stopped by the surprise 40th birthday party. Them walking into that room.
Looking fresh.
Awesome. It was great to see them. Kids are awesome, as are you. We're incredibly lucky to do this every single day. Have the greatest weekend of your life. The divisional weekend should be one that is electrifying for all of us. Remember, we don't have a lot of football left.
Enjoy it.
Cherish it. Enjoy it.
Amen.
And let's look to the future as if it's very bright.
Always.
Sometimes you got to put shades on because of how bright the future is.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't know that, you need to think that. Because why not?
Why not?
You look around, you can see a lot of negative stuff. You can find a lot of negative stuff. But if you search hard enough through the bullshit, you can find a lot of silver linings. And this weekend, all silver linings.
Amen.
This weekend, all optimism. This weekend, we decide we're cutting the negative bullshits from our life, isn't it?
Hell yeah.
All right, let's have the greatest weekend of all time. We'll see you on Overreaction Monday. You're the greatest people on earth. Boys in the back, great work this week.
We're boys.
Is that two beanies, back-to-back beanies on Gumshoes?
Yeah, I ran it back with the gray.
Oh, okay. Looks good.
man.
Looks good, Gumsh.
We're
Great
all
work
in.
in the back there.
We're all in.
Boys, fantastic work at the Tux table this week.
You too,
You
Pat.
guys really did well.
Good work.
You too.
Tone, great work over
Thank
there.
you. You too.
Time.
Hammer down, boys. Swinging a hot bat right now?
The hottest.
Always.
Okay.
Always.
They'll be giving picks here in a little bit. AJ, great work this week. Way to battle through adversity.
Yeah, we'll be good. Internet will be back before Monday, hopefully. We'll see.
All right. He needs to find more silver linings than everybody else with the mood that he's in.
No, I'm manifesting positive things. I think it was a good message you had. I'm manifesting all great things.
One last time here.
Oh, yeah.
Let's open some chakras on the spine.
Amen.
Right.
How? Who was it? Who was the last one?
AJ.
Tried my hardest.
AJ didn't do it one time. He laughed, actually. He tried to ruin it.
It was me because I knew the chakras.
Oh, fuck off, dude.
Yeah,
You ruined it.
That was a good
Oh,
moment.
my bad. You don't want my chakras open. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Hey, keep your chakras closed if you're going to have that type of attitude while we're doing our chakra opening ceremony.
Bitch.
Okay? I'm about done with it. I'm about done with it. Be a friend.
I'm all in.
All right. AJ's got caught on camera. He wasn't doing it.
He wasn't doing it.
I was still going.
Not enough people believe in here, which is a damn shame. Because sometimes there's outside factors, like those that are in attics in Ohio, a couple 100 miles away, can seem to damper the mood a little bit.
Certainly.
But don't let that happen.
Never.
You fucking open your chakra whenever you need to open your chakra. Don't let chakra closing sons of bitches anywhere near your vibe, your energy, your weekend.
Wide.
Let's have an open chakra weekend.
Hell yeah.
And we'll see you on Overreaction Monday. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change your life. We're in this thing together. Remember that. Goodbye.